Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhashachari Shatarine. What follows is the Sri Caitanya Candramrta by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati. Translations and introduction by Sriman Kushakrata Das. In the year 1512, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu began his tour of the holy places of South India. When the Lord arrived at Sri Rangakshetra, he decided to spend the 4 months of Chaturmasya there, the residence of many saintly Vaishnava devotees, all followers of Sripad Ramanujacharya. The Lord saw the beautiful form of the deity, Lord Ranganath, associated with the devotees, discussed the topics of Krishna with them, and instructed the truth of spiritual life to the people in general. At this time, the Lord stayed at the home of 3 brothers, Tirumata Bhatta, Venkata Bhatta, and Gopal Guru. The son of Venkata Bhatta later became the famous Gopal Bhatta Goswami. The followers of Ramanujacharya are very devoted to the worship of Lakshmi Narayana. Lord Chaitanya explained the superiority of Lord Krishna's pastimes to his hosts, and their conversation on this point is recorded in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 9. At this time, Gopal Guru, who was later to become Prabodhananda Saraswati, became greatly devoted to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Venkata's son, Gopal Bhatta, also became attached to the Lord. In his youth, Gopal Bhatta was instructed by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati. Prabodhananda Saraswati became a follower of Sri Chaitanya, and he is considered one of the great acharyas in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Actually, he is one of the great eternal associates of the Lord, as explained in Kavi Karnapur's Gaur Ganadesh Deepika. When the Lord appeared in his original form as Sri Krishna, Prabodhananda Saraswati was one of the important gopis, Tunga Vidya. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati is also described as follows in Narahari Shakar's Bhakti Ratnakara. Prabodhananda Saraswati was full of all good qualities, and therefore he was known everywhere by the name Saraswati. He was greatly devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and continuously remembered him even while asleep. He was full of love for the devotees and was very renounced. His handsome form was pleasing to see, and he was a learned poet and philosopher. No one could compare with him in the arts of singing, dancing, and playing musical instruments. Everyone who heard his eloquent speech became delighted. These are the incomparable glories of Prabodhananda Saraswati. After Lord Chaitanya left South India and returned to Jagannath Puri in Orissa, Prabodhananda Saraswati continuously remembered the Lord within his heart, and eventually he left his home at Sri Rangakshetra and went to Vrindavan to remain in the forest of Kamyavan, where he was eventually joined by his nephew Gopal Bhatta. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami requested that he remain in the association of all the devotees of Vrindavan, and to please Kaviraj Goswami, Prabodhananda Saraswati did not leave. This is part 1. Stuti Mukhe Vastu Nirdesha Rupa Mangala Chadanam, invoking auspiciousness at the beginning of the work and describing its contents. Stumastam Chaitanya Kritamati Vimayada Padamal Batadayam Bayam Vachipati Kumaram Vasayatum Vishuddha Sapremon Madamada Piyusha Lahari Padatung chanebhyo Padapadanavan vipapakatam. Let us glorify the boundlessly merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Prince of Brajabhumi, who has now appeared in his supreme abode of the town of Navadvip as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He has appeared in order to taste the intoxicating sweet waves of the nectar of transcendental pure love for himself, and to distribute that nectar to others. Dharmas prishtak satatapadamavishta evatya dharme drishtim prapto nakalusadam sishtishu kwapinosam yaddattashvi hadidasasuda svadamottak panityat uchchagayat atavilotati stomitam kancharisham. One who is untouched by any piety, who is completely absorbed in irreligion, who has never received the merciful glance of the devotees or been to any holy place sanctified by them, such a person will still ecstatically dance, loudly sing, and even roll about on the ground when he becomes intoxicated by tasting the nectarian beverage of the transcendental mellows of pure love of God given by Lord Chaitanya. Let me therefore glorify that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Yannaktam karmanishta nacha samadikatam yattapo dhyana yogai vairagyaistyaga tattva stutubidapana yattarkitam chapi kaischit Govinda prema bhajam apinakachalitam yadn rahasyam swayam tat namnaiva pradurasi avatadati pare yattatam nomi goram. The most elevated platform of pure love of God is a great mystery that cannot be understood by those attached to fruitive activities, austerities, meditation, mystic yoga performances, renunciation, attainment of knowledge, offering prayers to the Lord, or even by those who, although absorbed in devotional service to Lord Govinda in love of God, are not able to understand the pure love the gopis feel for Krishna. That mysterious pure love of God has now been revealed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Gaur-Sundar, who has appeared in this world and preached the glories of the chanting of his own holy names. Let me glorify that Lord Gaur-Sundar. Drishtak sprishtak kirtitak sansvito va durastarapyanato vajato va Vemnak saram datamisho yeka Shri Chaitanyam nomi devam dayaro. Lord Chaitanya grants the nectar of pure love of God to those who see him, glorify him, or remember him, and even to those who simply offer respectful obeisances or worship him from a great distance. Let me glorify that merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Kaivalyam nadakayate tudashapurākasha pushpayate durdantendriyakala sarpa patali protkatadam srayate visham puna sukayate vadimahindradishchakitayate yatkarunyakatakshavad bhavatam tam godame vastumo. If one attains Lord Gaur-Sundar's merciful sidelong glance, then the impersonal liberation of merging into the splendor of God becomes as palatable as going to hell. And the heavenly cities of the demigods appear as real as flowers imagined to be floating in the sky. The poisonous fangs of the untamable black snakes of the senses become broken. The whole world becomes full of joy, and Lord Brahma, Indra, and all the other demigods seem as insignificant as insects. Let us glorify that Lord Gaur-Sundar. Madhyantak paripihiyasya chadanam bhojasya ratronjala premanandamayan vitadodadasansa vesuparvedita Brahmadinshcha hasanti nanta bahamanyande mahavaishnavan dikkovandcha brahma yoga vidushastangora changrang numa. When Lord Gaurachandra's devotees, who are worshipped even by the demigods, drink the amazingly palatable, splendid nectar of the bliss of pure love of God that flows from the lotus flower of Lord Gaurachandra's feet, they become completely intoxicated. In that condition, they laugh at Lord Brahma and the other demigods, condemn the impersonalist yogis, and do not consider the great devotees of Lord Vishnu who do not worship Lord Gaurachandra very important. Let us glorify that Lord Gaurachandra. Raksho daitukalam hatang kiyadidam yogadi vartma kriya margo vapakatikritak kiyadidam srishyadikam vakiyat medinyundadanadikam kiyadidam premondralaya maham bhakti vartma karim padam bhagavatas chaitanyamurtim stuma. What great benefit did mankind attain when Lord Ramchandra, Lord Nrsimha, and many other incarnations of God killed so many Rakshasa and Daitya demons? How significant is it that Lord Kapila and other incarnations reveal the paths of the Sankhya and other yoga systems? How glorious is it that Lord Brahma and the other Guna avatars create, maintain, and annihilate the material universes? How auspicious is it that Lord Varaha lifted the earth from the Garbhodak ocean? We do not consider any of these activities to be very important. The actually important thing is that Lord Chaitanya has revealed the path of the most exalted and splendid aspect of pure devotional service, conjugal love of God. Therefore, let us glorify that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Part 2. The Namaskar Rupa Mangala Charanam, auspicious introduction in the form of offering obeisances. Namaste Tannichandraya Koti Chandrananatriji Premanandabdi Chandraya Charu Chandrang Shuhasine Namaste Tannichandraya Koti Chandrananatriji Premanandabdi Chandraya Charu Chandrang Shuhasine. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Caitanya Chandra, whose face is as splendid as millions of moons, and whose smile is as charming as moonlight. He is like a moon that has just arisen from the ocean of the bliss of pure love of God. Yasyaiva param bhujabhakti labhyak prema vidanak bharamak pumato tasmai jagan mangala mangalaya chaitanya chandraya namo namaste. O Lord Chaitanya Chandra, by devotedly serving your lotus feet, one may attain pure love of God, the ultimate goal of all endeavors. O Lord Chaitanya Chandra, O most auspicious of all auspicious things in this world, I repeatedly offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Ucharas palayantam kadachadanamaho he madanda prakando bahu proditya sattham davatadanakodum bhundarika hitaksham vishwasya mangalagnam kimipi hari hari chunmadanandanadaya vande tam devachuda manamatadadasa vishta chaitanya chandram. Immersed in the incomparable confidential love borne by Srimati Radharani for Lord Krishna, Lord Caitanya Chandra danced very enthusiastically, raising his two arms which appeared like two golden rods. His hands and feet quickly moved here and there, and his beautiful body trembled. Intoxicated by transcendental bliss, he called out, Hari Hari, vanquishing all inauspiciousness within the universe. I offer my respectful obeisances to that Lord whose eyes are as beautiful as lotus petals and who is the crest jewel of all incarnations of God. Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hemam Divya Chabisundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Candramrta Namo Namaste Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hemam Divya Chabisundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Candramrta Namo Namaste. Lord Caitanya Candra, the personification of transcendental blissful pastimes, appears very beautiful, his transcendental splendid luster like that of gold. He grants pure love of God in the exalted conjugal mellow, which had never been given before. Again and again I offer my respectful obeisances to that Lord Caitanya Candra. Babahirashunam Navajadakoti Vadishodadamam Premadya Padmapadakoti Pahasanam Ramantam Madhuryar Amadanadikoti Divatanu Chitabistam Vandehi Hadamahasanyasakapatam. Lord Gaurahari's eyes appear like millions of rain clouds showering torrents of tears, and the sweetness and luster of his transcendental form shower millions of oceans of nectar. Enriched with the great treasure of pure love of God, Lord Gaurahari laughs at the insignificant opulence of millions of spiritual Vaikuntha planets. I offer my respectful obeisances to that Lord Gaurchandra, who accepted the renounced order of sannyas to fulfill two purposes. First, as a trick to bless the ordinary conditioned souls who would automatically offer respects to him and thus attain great transcendental benefit. And second, to display his amazing pastimes within this world. Part 3. Ashirvada Rupa Mangalacharanam, auspicious introduction in the form of benedictory words. Sinhaskandam Mudurasmeragandastalantam Duvingeyo Jadarasmayascha Yananavakaram Bibrat Kanti Vikachakanakam Bojagarbhabiramam Eki Bhutam Vavadabatu Radhayamadavasya. Lord Gaurasundar's broad shoulders are like a lion's, and the charming smile on the corner of his cheeks is the sweetest of all sweet things. He is absorbed in the unfathomable, ecstatic love the gopis felt in separation from Krishna. And thus, his body sometimes undergoes very amazing transformations. Srimati Radharani and Lord Madhava have combined together in Lord Gaurasundar's body, which is as splendid and beautiful as the whirl of a golden lotus flower. May that Lord Gaurasundar protect you. Drishtva mandati nutanam bodachayam samviksha barham bhavedantyantam vikalova loka valitam gunjavalim vepate drishte shyamakishorake pichakitam datte chamatkaritam ittam goratanu pracharitam naja prema hari patuva. When Lord Gauranga saw an assemblage of new rain clouds, he was reminded of Lord Krishna, and he became just like a madman with love for him. When Lord Gauranga saw a peacock feather, he became greatly agitated, and when he saw a bracelet of small conch shells, he trembled. Seeing a dark-complexioned boy, and surmising that the boy was Krishna, Lord Gauranga was astonished and afraid. In this way, Lord Gauranga, who is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, preached the glories of pure and ecstatic love for himself. May that Lord Hari, who has assumed a golden form, protect you. Kripa Sindhu Sandhya Gunruchi Vichitram Vadadado Jalakpurnak Premam Vitamaya Mahajota Damalaho Shachigar Bakshiram Buddhi Babal Udaram Budakalo Kalana Tashiman Udiyat Tavaswanta Nabasi. The shining full moon of Lord Chaitanya was born from the milk ocean of Srimati Shachi Devi's womb. That moon is learned in the 64 astonishing transcendental arts, and it appears very splendid, dressed in glorious saffron garments the color of the rising sun. That pure and beautiful moon is full of the nectar of pure love of God, and possesses the luster of the Sattvika Bhava ecstatic symptoms. It appears like a great ocean of mercy. That moon is the combination of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of innumerable incarnations, and the supremely beautiful Srimati Radharani. May that moon of Lord Chaitanya arise within the sky of your hearts. Badnan prema badapakam badakaro gandhin kati dorakai sankyathum nijaloka mangala Hare Krishna iti nam japan ashusnatu mukaksame vahi jagannatam didrikshu gata yatar godatanu velochana mudam thanvan hari patuva. When Lord Chaitanya was overwhelmed with intense pure love of God, his hand would tremble as he touched the knotted string about his waist to count his recitations of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In this way he chanted his own holy names, which grant auspiciousness to the entire universe. He was so eager to see his form of Lord Jagannath that his face became bathed in tears as he hurriedly moved about, coming and going. May that Supreme Lord Hari in the form of Lord Gauranga, a vision of whom delights the eyes, protect you. Andadvantachayam samasta jagatan hunmulayanti hatahat premanandada sambudim dadavadhi prodelayanti bala. Vishang shitalayantativa vikalam tapattehe nanasham yasmakam vidaye chakacha satatam chaitanya chandvachata. The moonlight of Lord Caitanya Chandra's luster violently uproots the darkness of ignorance in the hearts of all the living beings in the universe. That moonlight causes the ocean of the nectar of pure love of God to continuously expand and overflow its shores. Sprinkling the nectar of pure love of God, that moonlight greatly cools this universe, which is devastated by the burning threefold miseries of material existence. May that moonlight of Lord Caitanya Chandra constantly shine within your hearts. Part 4. The Sri Chaitanya Bhakta Mahima, glorification of Lord Chaitanya's devotees. Brantam yattu munishwaraya vipara yasmin shama mandali kasyapi pariveshanaya vadishanaya vedano vashviko yannakvapi kupamahina chanije pyudgatitam saurina tasmin udhala bhakti vartmani sukham kelanti gora priya. The greatest saints became bewildered when they tried to understand the most exalted aspect of devotional service, conjugal love of God. In this world, this most intimate aspect of spiritual life cannot be understood by anyone merely by exercising his intelligence. Indeed, even Shukadev Goswami could not fully understand it, and Lord Krishna himself was unwilling to reveal it to his own devotees. But this splendid path of Madhurya Rasa is the place where the dear, intimate devotees of Lord Chaitanya happily perform their pastimes. Tavan Brahma Katava Mukti Padavi Tavan Natikti Pave Tavacha Bivashinkalatvamayate No Loka Vedastiti Tavat Chastavadam Mitakalakalo Nana Bahir Vatmasu Shri Chaitanya Padambu Japriya Jano Yavana Dringochara. Talks about the impersonal Brahman and the path of liberation will not become bitter, nor will the shackles of blind adherence to social and Vedic conventions loosen, as long as within the range of one's eyes there is no devotee who is like a bumblebee addicted to drinking the nectar of the lotus flower of Lord Chaitanya's feet. As long as such a devotee is not seen, the Vedic scholars will travel on the paths of various external and unimportant topics and continue their bewildering and useless debates. Katavan vairagyam kachavishayavatasnadaki shibodn vigakvaso vinyabadamapu yalahari Katavate jolau kikamatamaha bhakti padavi kasava sambhavya yadabakalitam godakatashu. Where are the great humility, beauty, spiritual strength, devotion, and renunciation of this world's hellish sense gratification that can compare with those of Lord Gauranga's devotees? Sakannayana gochari kachatadashdarakula papulla kamalikshana paniyakata rashimuko Nagoda chadanang jaha satikadapi logottara spudan nodadimanavam navanavana ragunada. Lord Gaurasundar is agitated by intense feelings of love and separation from Lord Krishna, and thus the eyes of his beautiful face appear like petals of a blooming lotus that are overflooded with tears. One who sees this feature of Lord Chaitanya becomes maddened by newer and newer feelings of ecstatic love and never renounces the service of the Lord's lotus feet, which are an ocean of extraordinary transcendental sweetness. Acharya dharmam paricharya vishnum vicharya tirtan vicharya vihiran vinana gora priyapada sevam vedadi dushprapi padam vidanti. One may perform the duties of the Varnashram system, nicely worship Lord Vishnu, visit many places of pilgrimage, and study the Vedas. But if he neglects to serve the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya's dear devotees, he cannot understand the confidential holy abode of Vrindavan, the place where Sri Sri Radha and Govinda perform their pastimes, which the Vedas do not reveal. Aparavaram chid amitamaya pato dimadikam Vimatya praptam syat kimapi padam sadamatulam Tatapi Shri Gora Pritimadana Gopala Chadana Chataspishtananta Vahati Bhakatam Eva Katutam. By churning the great ocean of nectar from shore to shore, one may attain something that he considers the inexpressible, supreme, incomparable essence of all nectar. But still, that nectar will taste very bitter to those who have come in contact with the splendid effulgence emanating from the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga, who is actually Lord Krishna, the Cupid-like cowherd boy, and who has assumed a golden form to taste the ecstatic love for Krishna felt by Srimati Radharani. Atrinada pichanichita sahajasomya mungdakuti sudar modadambhashita vishya ganda tuttutkati ahadipaniya vigvala kimapi dirnalambata bhavandi kila sadguna jagati gora bhajamani. The devotees of Lord Chaitanya are so humble that they consider themselves lower than a blade of grass, and they are naturally friendly and affectionate to others. Their forms are pleasing to see, their words are as sweet as nectar, and they spit at the insignificant sense gratification of this world. Their minds, agitated with sentiments of pure, deep love for Lord Hari, are not at all concerned about external events. These are the transcendental qualities of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Pasatamba Guruvaya Koti, Diyatamba Shruti Shastra Koti, Chaitanya Karunya Kataksha Bhajam Sadyak Param Syadidahasya Labho. Even one who takes shelter of millions of exalted spiritual masters and studies millions of Vedic scriptures still cannot attain the confidential pure love of Krishna immediately attained by those who have been blessed by the merciful sidelong glance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Astang Vairagya Koti Bhavatu Shamadamakshanti Maitradi Koti Stadvanu Dhyana Koti Bhavatu Va Vaishnavi Bhakti Koti Kotyang Shopyasya Nasya Tadapi Gunagano Yaksvatak Siddha Asti Srimad Chaitanya Chandra Piya Chadanana Kanjota Ramona Bhajam. Let renunciation be multiplied 1,000,000 times, and let millions of good qualities born from faith in God, such as tolerance, sense control, peacefulness, and friendliness, be present 1,000,000 times. Let there be millions of impersonal meditations on the statement Tat Tvamasi found in the Upanishads. And let there even be devotion for Lord Vishnu amplified 1,000,000 times. Still, all these good qualities taken together do not even equal 1,000,000th of the multitude of perfect transcendental qualities possessed by those who delight in the splendid effulgence emanating from the toenails of the dear devotees of the all-powerful, all-opulent, moon-like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kechit sagada bundara natiparakramanti nrityanti vai kechit deva padandara dashmaha chipanchapanto muhu anando batajala vingvalata yati dvaita chandradayak keke nodata vanda idashipanas chaitanya nrityotsave. In the dancing festival inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the devotees have become greatly agitated by the sprinkling nectar of transcendental bliss. Murari Gupta and others are dancing so enthusiastically that they appear to be leaping over the seas and mountains. Srivas and others revile Lord Indra and the other demigods again and again. And even distinguished scholars like Advaitacharya are dancing in ecstasy. Who could possibly avoid being caught up in this exuberant dancing festival of Lord Chaitanya? Bhutto va bhavatapi va bhavati va kasyapi yakopi va sambandho bhagavat padambujadase nasmin jagan mandali Tatsavam nija bhakti rupa padamaishahina vikridato gorasyasa kripava jimmatataya jamandi nirmatsara. This supreme nectarian mellow of the highest stage of devotional service to the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Krishna has not in the past touched this universe, and except for where Lord Chaitanya's influence extends, it is not in the present and will not in the future touch this universe. By the mercy of Lord Gaur Sundar, who performed pastimes displaying the supreme opulence of devotional service to Lord Krishna, who is Lord Chaitanya himself, the non-envious devotees can taste that sweet, unprecedented nectar. Mahapudushamanam Sudamanisharanam Nijam Padambujamajanatam Kimipi Garva Nirvasanam Ahonayana Gochadam Digamachakachudachayam Chichi Sutamachikadat Akahiya Bodhi Bhagyodayo. Lord Chaitanya, the transcendental son of Srimati Shachi Devi, is searched after by the Upanishads, the crest jewels of all the Vedic scriptures, and he crushes the limitless pride of the arrogant kings of the sages and demigods who think they are great although they remain ignorant of the Lord's lotus feet. Who in this world is as fortunate as he who has personally seen Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu? Sarvasadhanahinopi paramaishwarya vaibhavi Gaurangi nyasta bhavohya sarvata punahivasa. Even if a person has not followed the regulative practices of devotional life, by continuously remembering Lord Gauranga, who is full of wonderful transcendental opulences, he will certainly attain the supreme goal of life, pure love for Krishna. Part 5. The Sri Chaitanya Bhakta Ninda, criticism of those who are not devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Appigannam mahapunyam ananya sharanam hari anupasata chaitanyam adanyam mamyate mati. If a person has accumulated countless pious credits and completely taken shelter of Lord Hari, but has not worshipped Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I consider him a poor and unfortunate person devoid of Krishna Prema, the supreme goal of life. Kriya Saktan Dig Dig Vikata Tapaso Dig Chayaminak Digastu Brahmaham Vadanapati Purlan Jatamatin Gametan Shochamo Vishyavasamatan Vapashun Nakeshan Chilesho Pihamalito Gornamadonak. To hell with the smarta Brahmins who blindly follow the Vedic rituals. To hell with those who practice unnecessary, harsh penances. To hell with those who try to control the mind and senses by following the regimen of the eightfold yoga system. To hell with those who imagine they are liberated simply by saying Aham Brahmasmi, and whose voices blossom forth with many words of useless mental speculations. Why do we condemn these animals in the guise of men who are intoxicated by the taste of things other than Krishna? Because, alas, alas, they have not relished even a tiny drop of the honey available at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Pashanak parishechuto mitadasai naivankura sambhavit langulam saradampate vivinataksyarasya naivarjavam. Hasta bhunnayata buddha katamaho dharyam vidhor mandalam sarvam sadhanamastu godakadanam bhavena bhavotsavo. O learned readers, even if a stone is continuously sprinkled with nectar, it will not sprout a single blade of grass. Even if a dog's tail is stretched out, it will never actually become straight. A man may stretch his arms as much as he likes, but he will never grasp the moon. In the same way, a person may follow all the regulations of devotional service, but he will never attain the blissfully festive state of pure love of God without the mercy of Lord Gaurachandra. Avatirne Gaurachandre Vistirne Prema Sagare Suprakashata Ratnange Yodino Dine Vasa. Avatirne Gaurachandre Vistirne Prema Sagare Suprakashata Ratnange Yodino Dine Vasa. The golden moon of Lord Gaurachandra has now arisen over the horizon of the broad ocean of love of God and illumined the multitude of jewels that are the activities of pure devotional service. Wretched souls who will not collect those jewels are certainly poverty-stricken. Avatirne Gaurachandre Vistirne Prema Sagare Yena Manjanti Manjanti Te Mahanartha Sagare. Avatirne Gaurachandre Vistirne Prema Sagare Yena Manjanti Manjanti Te Mahanartha Sagare. The golden moon of Lord Gaurachandra has now risen over the horizon of the broad ocean of love of God. Those who will not bathe in that ocean must find themselves bathing in the useless, unwanted ocean of material activities. Basadita Mahaprema Piyusha Rasasagari Chaitanya Candre Pakate Yodino Dina Evasa Basadita Mahaprema Piyusha Rasasagari Chaitanya Candre Pakate Yodino Dina Evasa. The rising golden moon of Lord Chaitanya has greatly expanded the ocean of the nectar of ecstatic pure love of God. A rascal who refuses to take shelter of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet remains poor and wretched despite this wonderful inundation. Achaitanyamidam vishram yadi chaitanyamishram navadu sarva shastragya yapi bhramyanti tejana. Achaitanyamidam vishram yadi chaitanyamishram navadu sarva shastragya yapi bhramyanti tejana. Those who do not accept Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Personality of Godhead must wander throughout this universe composed of inert, lifeless matter. Even if they are scholars learned in all the Vedic scriptures, they must wander in this way from the highest to the lowest planets, impelled by their pious and impious deeds. Svadam svadam mododimabodam sviyanama valinam madam madam himibibashi bhuta visrasta gatro varam varam vachipati gunan gaya gayiti jalpon goro drishtak sakadapinayar dugatateshu bhakti. Again and again, Lord Gaurasundar relished the intense sweetness of chanting his own holy names in the form of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Thus he became increasingly maddened with ecstatic love, and in that ecstatic anxiety he lost all control and repeatedly stumbled as he walked. Again and again he implored those around him, "Please glorify the transcendental qualities of Krishna, the Lord of Braja. Please chant his glories." Those who have not, at least for a moment, seen Lord Gaurasundar find it very difficult to attain pure devotional service. Vina bijam kimnam kurjananamandho benakatam papasyeno pongur girishakadamaro hatikatam yadi Shri Chaitanya hadidasamayascha yevabhave pibhaktanam bhavi katam pipada prema rabasa. Is it not impossible for a blade of grass to shoot up without one's first planting a seed? Is it not impossible for a blind man to see and a lame man to climb the summit of Mount Sumeru? Then how is it possible for those with no devotion for Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is full of the amazing opulences of the mellows of pure love for Lord Hari, to attain the transcendental bliss of pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Alaukikya premon maradasa vilasar panatayay nayakshi govindan nuchidachiveshve shukatashu mahaschaya premo savamapi hatandhataninayan matiyugode sakshat vadahiya samudho navapashu. Lord Gaurasundar is freely distributing the extraordinary joyful festival of the sentiments and pastimes of pure love of God, which only the intimate friends and associates of Lord Govinda experience. Only a great fool who is actually an animal in the guise of a human being will not fix his mind on that Lord Gaurasundar. Asankhya shrutyado Bhagavadavatara Nagatita Bhavam Kaksambha Vayuda Padama Shadita Brato Gramanyat svaprishti kati kati satam napi anubhava statapi shivori hadi hadi namudha hadidiyo. Of the countless incarnations of God described in the four Vedas and other scriptures, Lord Gaurasundara possesses the greatest transcendental opulence. Who but the Supreme Lord himself can describe Lord Gaurasundara's opulence? Although his intimate devotees have often experienced that their beloved Lord is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, alas, alas, the fools will not accept this fact. Sakshan mokshadikartan vividvikritabistuchitam darshiyantam Premanandam pasute sakalatanamritam yasya lila kataksha naso vedeshu gudho jakati yadiva vedishro gaurachandras tatan prapto nishavadan shiva shiva gahane vishnu maye namaste. That ecstatic pure love of God manifested from Lord Gaurasundar's playful sidelong glance reveals the worthlessness and insignificance of liberation, religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification, the four goals of life for conditioned souls trapped in material bodies. Those who proclaim that because Lord Gaurasundar is only indirectly described in the Vedic scriptures, he cannot possibly be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are atheists. O illusory potency of Lord Vishnu, it is very difficult to understand how you act to bewilder them and others. O illusory potency, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Digastu kulamundalam, digapi vagmatam digyasho, digandiyanamakritim, navavayakshiyam chastu dik. Vijatam abhidikparam, vibalamasamadhyam chadik, nachet padichatakelo, pakadagora gopipati. If one does not worship Lord Krishna, the master of the gopis, who appears in the Kali age as golden-complexioned Lord Gaurasundar, then to hell with his illustrious noble birth, to hell with his eloquence, to hell with his fame, to hell with his scholarship, his handsome and youthful body, and his wealth, to hell with his status as a Brahmin, to hell with his strict observance of the regulations of the Brahmacharya ashram and other ashrams, and to hell with his austerity, yogic performances, sacrifices, and other pious deeds. Aho vaikuntaste dapicha bhagavat parshadavarai sadomancham dishto yadanuchadavakresha Mahasjaya primo dvaradasa sadas vesha vivashihi kritangas tamgoram katamakrata punya pranayatu. Vikreshwara Pandit and the other devotees of Lord Gaurasundar, when the great servants of Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha see these devotees, the servants are astounded and their bodily hairs stand on end. How can one possibly attain this exalted ecstatic love for Lord Gaurasundar without having amassed many wonderful pious deeds? Datvayakamapi prasadamata sambhashya smita shrimukam durat snigdadashanarikshisa mahapremotsavam yachati yeshang hantakutarka karkashadaya tatrapi natyadrara sakshat purnadasavatara nihado dushta ami kevalam. Bhagavan Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu brought the full mellows of pure love of God to this earth. So many living entities received his mercy when he spoke with them, smiled at them from his beautiful and auspicious face, affectionately glanced at them from afar, and gave them the great and joyful festival of exalted pure love of God. Those who do not respectfully worship Lord Chaitanya, despite having received all these gifts from him, must be considered cruel-minded, foolish demons. Part 6. The Dainya Rupa Swaninda. The author criticizes himself for his wretched condition. Vanchitosmi, vanchitosmi, vanchitosmi nasangshayaha Vishangorasai magnam sparshopi mamanabhavat Vanchitosmi, vanchitosmi, vanchitosmi nasangshayaha Vishangorasai magnam sparshopi mamanabhavat. I am cheated, I am cheated, I am cheated. Of this there is no doubt. Although Lord Caitanya has inundated the entire universe with the flood of love of God, I have not been touched by even a single drop. Karva sarva pamata melda kritaya sarha sadito nasin goda padada vinda rajasaspishto mahimandale. Aha din mama jivanam digapi me vidyam digapi ashramam yadna bhagya badada homa mama tat sambandha gandhopya bhoot. Now that the pollen of Lord Gaur-Sundar's lotus feet has touched this earth, who, even without trying for it, has not attained the pure love of God that is the crest jewel of all human endeavors? Alas, alas, because of my great misfortune, only I have not attained even the slightest trace of the fragrance of that pure love. Because of this calamity, I say, to hell with my worthless life, to hell with my erudition, to hell even with my status as a renunciant. Utsasapa jagadeva purayan goda chanda kadonamahan avak bindumatam apinapatan mahadubage mahikameted adbhutam. Utsasapa jagadeva purayan goda chanda kadonamahan avak bindumatam apinapatan mahadubage mahikameted adbhutam. I am certainly very unfortunate, for although the great ocean of Lord Gaur-Sundar's mercy has inundated the entire universe, not even a drop of that ocean has fallen upon me. How has this amazing calamity happened? Kalakali balina India vaidi varga Shri Bhakti marga hiya kandaka koti ruddha. Aha kriyami vikalakkham aham karomi Caitanya Candramrta kripam karoshi. Kalakali balina India vaidi varga Shri Bhakti marga hiya kandaka koti ruddha. Aha kriyami vikalakkham aham karomi Caitanya Candramrta kripam karoshi. It is now the age of Kali, and my enemies, my senses, have become very strong. The splendid path of devotional service has become overgrown with millions of brambles in the form of fruitive activities and mental speculations. Conquered by the faults of the Kali Yuga, I have grown extremely weak. Alas, alas, what can I do? Where shall I go? O Lord Gaur-Chandra, what shall I do if you do not now give your mercy to me? Sopyascha yamayak prabhurna yanayo yanna bhavan gocharo yanna svadihade padam mujada sastyad yat katham tadgatam etavan mamatavadastu jagati nye pyalankhuvati Shri Caitanya pade nakata manasasthaya yat prasangotsavaha. The all-wonderful Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu never came within the range of my eyes, and I never tasted the nectar of the service of his lotus feet. Therefore I would consider it a supremely blissful and festive occasion if I could associate with those whose minds are always absorbed in thoughts of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. These great souls are veritably ornaments decorating the earth. Drishkarma koti nidatasya dadanda ghora durvasana nigadashinkalitasya gadham Grishyanmati kumati koti kadati tasya godam vanaji mamako bhaviteha bandhu. tightly bound with the shackles of horrible, wicked thoughts and desires, which are endless and difficult to control. I am addicted to performing millions of sinful deeds. Engaged in mental speculations and endeavoring for fruitive gains, my mind is in great anxiety. In addition, millions of wicked-minded materialists are trying to divert me from the real path of spiritual advancement. They are not my friends, except for Lord Gaur-Sundar, who is my friend in this world. Ahahanda paramo shada chitta bhumao vati bhavandi mama sadhana kotiyopi sarvatmana tadaham adbhuta bhakti bijam shri goda chanda chadanam karomi. Ahahanda paramo shada chitta bhumao vati bhavandi mama sadhana kotiyopi sarvatmana tadaham adbhuta bhakti bijam shri goda chanda chadanam karomi. Alas, 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 millions of the seeds of regulative spiritual practices fail to sprout when I try to plant them in the great desert of my heart. For this reason, with all my heart, mind and soul, I shall try to plant in my heart the lotus feet of Lord Gaur-Chandra, which bear the great amazing seed of transcendental pure devotional service. This is the only seed that will actually grow there. All others are useless. Ahahanda chitta bhuvi me padanosharayam sadbhakti kalpa latikang kodeta kathansya hridyekmeva padamashvasya niyamasti chaitanya nama kalayan kadapi socha. Alas, alas, within the desert of my heart, how will the desire creeper of pure devotional service ever sprout into the flowers that are the ecstasy of Sthaya Bhava? I have only one hope. If the desert of my heart is watered by the chanting of the holy name of Lord Chaitanya, that creeper will gradually sprout. Then I will be free of all lamentation. Asangsada dukkha jalado patitasya kama krodhadi nakkamakadai kavali kritasya dovasana nagaditasya narashayasya chaitanya chanda mama dehi padavalambham. Asangsada dukkha jalado patitasya kama krodhadi nakkamakadai kavali kritasya dovasana nagaditasya narashayasya Chaitanya chanda mame dehi padavalambham. Shackled by wicked thoughts and desires and fallen into the ocean of material suffering, I am attacked by the sharks and crocodiles of lust, anger, and my other enemies, and they are devouring me alive. Alas, my condition is hopeless. O Lord Caitanya Chandra, please rescue me and give me shelter on the boat of your lotus feet. Mrignyaprisa shivasuko davanadadadhyai ascharya bhakti padavi nataviyasino durbo navai bhavapate mahipamarepi chaitanya chanda yadite kadonakataksho. O Lord Caitanya Chandra, O Master of all inconceivable potencies, if you mercifully glance upon a person, even an insignificant fool like me, the amazing path of the most exalted devotional service is no longer far from him. This devotional service is eagerly sought after by Lord Shiva, Shukadev Goswami, Uddhava, Narada, and other great devotees. Gvasanirang Kushikipa Kotanvai Bhamadbhutam Kasavatsalata Shori Gori Yadriktavatmani Kwasanirang Kushikripa Kotanvai Babamadbhutam Kasavatsalata Shori Gori Yadriktavatmani. O Lord Krishna, O most illustrious descendant of the Shora dynasty, whose causeless mercy, amazing potency, and great affection for his devotees can compare to that displayed by your golden form, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Part 7, the Upasya Nishta, the firm conviction that Lord Chaitanya is the worshipable Supreme Personality of Godhead. Svatejasa Krishna Padaravinda Maharasa Veshita Vishwamisham Kamapyashesha Shruti Buddha Vesham Gauranga Mangi Kudumuda Cheta. By his innate potency, Lord Gauranga has granted to the entire world the transcendental mellows of the most exalted pure love for the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. That indescribable Lord Gauranga is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although only a covered description of his advent appears in the Vedas. O foolish mind, please take shelter of that Lord Gauranga. Shavana manana sankirtyadi bhuktyamararir yadi padamapumartam sadhiyet kopi bhadram Mamatu padamapara prema piyusha sindho kimapi rasadahasyam godadamno namasyam. If a person worships Lord Murari by following the 9 processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting the Lord's glories, and thus attains pure love of God, the ultimate goal of life, then that is certainly very good. Let him do it. But I shall not act in such a way, for I am devoting my entire life to the worship of the confidential mellows of devotional service manifested from Lord Hari's golden form of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is like a boundless nectar ocean of pure love for Krishna. Isham bhajandu pudashanta chatushtayasha dasa bhavandu chavahaya harirpasyam kinchidna hasya padalobita dirahantu chaitanya chanda chadanang chadanang karomi. Let those who worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead to attain pious credits, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation continue their worship. Let those who will not worship anyone save Lord Hari become the Lord's servants. But as for me, my mind is thirsting to relish the nectar of the confidential, mysterious, pure love for Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, and therefore I shall take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Caitanya Candra. Nishtam prapta vyavaditati laukiki vaidiki ya valanja prahasan samudgana natyotsavesu yeva bhuvan ahasahaja pranadeharta dharma goras chorak sakala mahadatko vimeti raviya. A very powerful thief named Lord Gauranga has stolen away all my faith in Vedic and conventional prescribed duties, my embarrassment at jubilantly dancing and loudly laughing and singing, and my natural inclination to be absorbed in material activities for the benefit of the external body. Sandranando dvadadasamaya prema piyusha sindho koting varsham kimapi kaduna snigna netranchalena koyam devak kanaka kadali garba gauranga yashti cheto kasman mama nijpade gada yuktam chakaro. From the corners of his eyes, moistened with tears of great mercy, a certain person is repeatedly showering millions of oceans of the intensely blissful and splendid nectar of pure love of God. Who is this indescribable divine person, whose beautiful form is as splendid as a young golden plantain tree, and who has caused my mind to become so vehemently devoted to the service of his lotus feet? Swayam devo yatra chitakanaka ghora karunaya mahapremanando jvardasa vapu pradodabhavat bhavandvipe tasmin pratibhavana bhaktyutsavamaye manome vakuntat apachamodude dham nidhamate. bearing a complexion as fair as molten gold, and manifesting a transcendental form that is the personified mellows of conjugal love for God, the most exalted, splendid, and blissful stage of devotional service. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has mercifully descended in the holy abode of Navadvip. As a result, that abode has become sweeter and more relishable than even Vaikuntha, and each home there is full of joyous celebrations for the pleasure of Bhakti Devi, personified devotion to Krishna. My mind delightedly performs pastimes in that abode of Navadvip. Yatan vadantu shastrani, yatan vyakyantu karika, Jivanam mama chaitanya padam bhoja sudhaivatu. Yattad vadantu shastrani, yattan vyakyantu tarkika, Jivanam mama chaitanya padam bhoja sudhaivatu. Let the Vedic scriptures say whatever they like, and let the learned logicians comment upon them as they like. Whatever they say, the nectar of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet shall always remain my life and soul. Patandi yadi siddhayak kadatale swayam dhulabak swayam cha yadi sevaki bhavatamagatak syusura kiman yadi dameva va yadi chatubhajam syadvapus tatapi mama no manak chalati goda chandramana. The virtually inaccessible mystic perfections may personally fall into my hand. All the demigods may arrive to become my servants, and I may even attain a four-armed spiritual form like Lord Narayan's in Vaikuntha. Yet even if all this were to happen, my mind would not swerve from Lord Gaurachandra for even a second. Vasom me vadamastu goda dahanan jvala vali panjari Shri Chaitanya padada vindadamukha nakutta chit sangamo Vaikuntha dipadam swayam chimilitam no me mano lipsati Bhadam bojada daschita yadi manako rasya no rasyate. I would rather live in a terrible burning cage than to associate with those who are averse to Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. I wouldn't want to live in Vaikuntha or any other auspicious place if for even a single moment I could not relish the splendor of the pollen of the lotus flower of Lord Chaitanya's feet. Astang nama mahan mahanati vadang sarvakshama mandale loke vapakathastu nama mahati siddhischa matkarini kamam charuchatu bhujatmayatamāradya vishveshwaram cheto me bahumanyate nahi nahi shri gauram bhaktim vina. I may become famous on the earth and everyone may proclaim my greatness. I may attain extraordinary mystic powers, or by worshipping Lord Vishnu, I may attain a beautiful four-handed spiritual form like his. Yet even if I were to achieve all these wonderful things, my mind would not consider them at all important if they were devoid of devotional service to Lord Gaurachandra. Achetam niti kripamahita padamhodaritti nanavadha prema vishita sarva bhuta vidiyetyascha hyadaman hiti Gaurangiti gunarnaviti rasadupeti sunama priyeti yashrantham mama jalpato janidayam yayadati pratiye. O Lord Chaitanya, I appeal to you. May I spend my entire lifetime continuously chanting your holy names. Without ever becoming tired, may I constantly call out to you, O Lord Chaitanya, O Kripamoya, merciful Lord, O Paramodara, supremely magnanimous Lord, O Nana Vidha Prema Vishita Sarva Bhuta Vidya, Lord who causes the various mellows of pure love of God to appear in the hearts of the living entities. O Ascharya Dhamma, Lord whose amazing fair complexion is as splendid as molten gold. O Gauranga, Lord Hari, who has attained a golden form. O Gunarnava, ocean of auspicious transcendental qualities. O Rasa Rupa, the personification of the ecstatic mellow of conjugal love and separation. O Swanama Priya, Lord who is fond of chanting his own holy names. Kadashore Gori, Vabashipadama Prema Rasadi, Sadeka Praninis, Kapatakababo Simbavita, Kadavatasya Lauk, Kasadanumani Namamari, Nakasma Shiradha, Padanaka Jo Tadaga. O Lord Krishna, O crest jewel of the Sura dynasty, when, free of all deceptiveness, will I wholeheartedly love you in your golden form of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. This form of yours grants the most exalted and splendid mellows of ecstatic devotional service, and is the very life of the great devotees who always relish those mellows. When, as a result of my pure love for you as Lord Chaitanya, will I be able to properly understand the hidden reason for your appearance in this golden form? And when, as a result of this understanding, will the effulgence of Srimati Radharani's jewel-like toenails suddenly manifest within my heart? Uddama dama nakadama ganabiramam arama ramam abirama grihita namo Karunyadama kanakojula gaura dhamo Chaitanya nama padamam kalayami dhamo Uddama dama nakadama ganabhiramam arama ramam abirama grihita namo Karunyadama kanakojula gaura dhamo Chaitanya nama padamam kalayami dhamo. Bedecked with a garland of Damanaka blossoms, his complexion as splendid as gold, Lord Chaitanya continually chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Sometimes he chanted in the privacy of a secluded garden, and at other times, being the abode of all mercy, he granted spiritual bliss to the people in general by teaching them how to chant the holy names of Lord Krishna. Let me continuously meditate upon that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the supreme shelter of the devotees. Sadarange nila chalashikadashinge valasato Harerevam brajam Mukhakamala bringekshamayugam Samutunga premon Madadasa tadangam Magadisham Manangam Gorangam Smadadukadasangam Mamama. The city of Nilachala is always full of joyous festivals in honor of Lord Jagannath, who continuously performs pastimes there. In that city, the two bumblebees of Lord Gauranga's eyes are irresistibly drawn to the glittering lotus flower of Lord Jagannath's face. Lord Gauranga is carried away by the high waves of ecstatic Maha-Bhava love for Lord Jagannath, which brings symptoms of madness, jubilation, pride, etc. Lord Gauranga intensely feels separation from Jagannath, who is none other than Lord Krishna, who appeared like Cupid to the doe-eyed gopis of Braja. May I meditate upon that Lord Gauranga, who acted like an exemplary sannyasi. Alankara pange ruhanayana niksyan dipayasam Vishadvi samukta Palasulalita yasya vapushi Udancha nromancha Apichapadama yasya sushamaha Tamalam begoram Hadamonam rochishna vasanam. The tears of ecstatic love falling from Lord Chaitanya's lotus eyes appear like beautiful pearls decorating his transcendental body. Lord Chaitanya looks exceedingly splendid, his body adorned with upright hairs and also showing other symptoms of Sattvika Bhava ecstasy. I take shelter of that Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, who has assumed a golden form and accepted the saffron garments of a sannyasi. Kandarpadapi sundarak surasavit puradaho pavanak Shitang shodapi shitalak sumodoro madvika sararapi Data kalpamahi ruhadavi mahasnigdo jananyapi Premna goda hadikadan vidimedyatak padandhasiti. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is more beautiful than even Cupid, and he usurps Cupid's supremacy over the living entities by enabling them to taste the spiritual happiness of Krishna consciousness. Lord Caitanya is more purifying than even the Ganges river, because he purifies the heart of sinful desires and establishes pure love of God there. Lord Caitanya is more cooling than even the moon, because by shining the cooling rays of spiritual happiness upon all the people, he removes both the darkness accumulated within the heart during millions of births and the burning distresses of material existence. Lord Caitanya is more sweet and relishable than even the Madhvika nectar, because although the demigods in the upper planets may drink Madhvika nectar, the sentiments of pride and envy remain within their hearts. But those who drink the sweet nectar of spiritual bliss emanating from Lord Caitanya become free from all these inauspicious qualities. Lord Caitanya is more generous than even the desire creeper, because a desire creeper grants benedictions only if a worthy person appeals to it, but Lord Caitanya grants the great treasure of pure love of God to everyone, whether they ask for it or not, and whether they are worthy or not. Lord Caitanya is more affectionate than even a mother, because a mother is affectionate only to her own children. But Lord Caitanya is full of love for all living entities, and he enables them to taste the bliss of pure love of God. When shall I continuously meditate upon that golden supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Caitanya? When will he affectionately place his lotus feet within my heart? Punjam punjam moruda moruda prema madvir sanam Datva datva swayamudadayo modayan vishrameta Eko devak katitamalan mandrimandrishta vasa Vasa nirbartita navatadit kote deva priyome. Repeatedly bestowing the great abundance of the nectar of pure love of God, which is the sweetest of all sweet things, Lord Caitanya delights the entire universe. A saffron garment the color of a manjishta creeper adorns his waist, and his splendid golden complexion eclipses the effulgence of millions of brilliant lightning flashes. May that merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, become very dear to me. Akantya nindata koti koti madanakshi manukhenduchata vichayi krita koti koti shadadunmilat sharachavi Avdaryena cha koti koti gunitam kalpadgrumam yalpayan Goro me vidi koti koti janasham bhagyay padandhasyati. With the great beauty of his form, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu eclipses the beauty of millions and millions of cupids, and the splendor of his moon-like face makes the shining of millions and millions of rising autumnal moons appear very dull and drab. His great generosity makes millions and millions of desire trees appear insignificant. I wonder whether, by performing many pious deeds for millions and millions of births, I will be able to induce Lord Caitanya to place his lotus feet within my heart. Andardvandachayam samascha jagatam munulayanti hatat premananda dasambudim nadavadi prodvelayanti vala Visham shitalayanti tivakalamtha patrahenanasham asasmakam vidye chakastu chakitam chaitanya chandrachata. the splendid moonlight of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu suddenly and violently disperses the darkness of ignorance in the hearts of the living entities in all the material universes. That moonlight causes unlimitedly high, continuous tidal waves in the nectarian ocean of the bliss of pure love of God, and it forever cools the universe which is burning with the threefold miseries of material existence. May that moonlight of Lord Caitanya brilliantly shine within the hearts of us who are trembling due to fear of birth and death. Chanam chinak pinak, chanam mahasasu, chanamata, chanam smerakšitak, chanam analataptak, chanamapi, chanam dhavanstudhak, chanam adhikajalpan, chanam aho, chanam huko ghorak, spudatamamadeho bhagavatak. Immersed in the sentiments of separation experienced by Srimati Radharani when Krishna had left for Mathura, Lord Caitanya would at one moment become devastated, but at the next moment he would think that Krishna had appeared before him, and his whole body would expand with happiness. Experiencing that Krishna had appeared to him, at one moment he would shed tears of joy, the next moment he would smile and laugh, and the next moment his body would become very cool. At one moment he would burn in the blazing fire of separation from Krishna, and at the next moment he would chase after Krishna who had appeared before him. At one moment he would touch Lord Krishna's spiritual body and become stunned, showing the ecstatic symptoms of sattvika bhava. And at the next moment he would assume the role of the Braja Gopis and talk to Krishna, saying, "Oh Debauchi, oh destroyer of the chastity of young girls, don't touch me." At the next moment he would assume the role of a proud gopi and become silent. May Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a golden form, appear within my heart. Patra patra vacharanam nakudate nasampadam vikshate deya deya vimarshiko nahinava kala patiksha prabhu sadnyo yakshavanekshana panamanandhyana dinadurlabam datte bhakti rasamsa eva bhagavan ghorak param megati. Lord Gaur Sundar did not consider whether the circumstances were appropriate or not, whether a person was a friend and kinsman or a stranger, whether the people were fit candidates or not, or whether the time was suitable or not. He indiscriminately distributed the nectar of the most exalted pure love of Godhead, which is difficult to achieve even by hearing the message of the Vedas, meeting saintly persons, seeing the deity form of the Lord, offering obeisances or meditating upon the Lord. Let me take shelter of that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Gaur Sundar, at every moment. Papiyanapi hina jatadapi dukshilo pidishkarmanam sima pisha pachadamo pisatatam durvasanadhyo picho Durdesha prabhavo pitatta vihitavaso viduk sangato nashto pyudantita eva yena kipayatam godamevashriye. Even the greatest sinners, even the lowest of men, the Yavanas, even the men of the basest character, even those who are in the vanguard of performing sinful deeds, even the dog-eating chandalas, even those whose minds are always full of wicked thoughts and desires, even those born in sinful countries, even those who reside in such countries as a result of their impious deeds, and even those whose good qualities are all spoiled by bad association, have been rescued by the mercy of Lord Gaur Sundar. Therefore let me always take shelter of Lord Gaur Sundar. Kalindatanayatati spuradamanda vrindavanam pahaya lavanam vudi pulana pushpavatim gata Jatadana patak pari datasukita vasa hari stirohitana jakchavi pakadagore mamegati. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, has left the splendid and charming forest of Vrindavan on the bank of the Yamuna river, and has now gone to a garden known as Jagannath Puri on the beach of the salt water ocean. He has rejected his exquisite yellow dhoti and accepted the saffron garment of a sannyasi, his dark, sapphire-like complexion, and has become golden, accepting the ecstatic love and complexion of his dearmost Srimati Radharani. May I ceaselessly take shelter of that Supreme Personality of Godhead who has appeared as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Part 8, Loka Shiksha, Instructions to the People. Ade mudha gudham vichinata hade bhakti padavim daviyasya drishya pyapadichita bhuvam munivadai navishram vaschitti yadi yadi chadolabhyamivatat paditya dhyashisham Vajitasananam Godachadanam. O foolish people, please try to understand the path of Lord Hari's most confidential devotional service, which even the best of ancient sages could not understand, despite long scrutiny. If you have no faith in his confidential devotional service, or if you think it is too difficult to achieve, then I implore you to please cast away all these misconceptions and take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Gaur Hari. Dadanmo danyodvam mukulata kadamboji yugalam galan netrambo snapatam dugandastala yugam dukule navitam navakamalakin jalkaruchina padam jyoti goram akanakaruchi choram pranamata. Approaching Lord Jagannath, Lord Gaur Sundar holds the palms of his lotus bud-like hands together above his head, and tears stream from his eyes, moistening his beautiful cheeks. Lord Gaur Sundar wears exquisite garments, and his complexion is as brilliant as the whirl of a newly blossomed lotus flower. He is the effulgent Supreme Brahman, and his luster steals away the splendor of gold. O people, please bow down and offer respectful obeisances to him. Brata kirtaya nama gokalapate hundama nama vadim yadvam bhavayathasya divya madadam rupam jagan mangalam ahanta prema maharaso jalapade nashapite sambhavit Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu yadi kripa drishti pate natvahi. Oh brother, even if you chant the wonderfully powerful holy names of Lord Krishna, the Master of Gokula, and even if you meditate upon his brilliant, charming, transcendental form, which creates auspiciousness for the entire world, if you do not also attain the merciful glance of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, then you cannot hope to attain the supremely exalted state of pure love of God found in the splendid Madhurya Ras, conjugal love. Aye nakudu sahasam tavahasanti savodyamam janapadita unmada haridsamata svadino idam tu nibatam shunu pranaya vastu prastu yate yadeva nagameshu tat patadayam hi gorak param. Oh brother, please do not act in this reckless way. Because you have not taken shelter of Lord Gauranga's lotus feet, the devotees who have become intoxicated by drinking the nectar of the mellows of pure devotional service to Lord Krishna are everywhere laughing at all your endeavors. Oh brother, please listen to this secret. Lord Gauranga is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is the object of the pure love of God described in all the Vedic literatures. Jnana nivartna viduchim vajanata bhakti ritim navidvina cha sadguravo melanti ahahanda handa mama kakshana nangva mudha gauro haristavana karna patam gadosti. O fool, why do you say, although the activities of pure devotional service to Lord Krishna, the master of Brajabhumi, make one greatly averse to speculations on impersonal Brahman, blind following of Vedic regulations, and dry renunciation, I am still not able to understand these activities. For that matter, I do not have any contact with saintly spiritual teachers. Alas, alas, alas! Of whom shall I take shelter? O fool, has the name Gaur-Hari never entered your ears? Vritavesham karma sapanayata vatam apimana nakarnabhyanepi kvachananayata dhyatashadani namoham dehado bhajatapadamaschya yamadodak bhumata namaudi milati babatam godakipaya. O brothers, please reject the useless duties prescribed in the Karmakanda section of the Vedas for material elevation. Do not let even a single word of the speculative Nyaya philosophy approach your ears. And please give up all illusions about your material body and the wife, children, community, and country related to it. Please do all this, and then by the mercy of Lord Gaur Sundar, you will be able to attain super excellent, amazing, and sweet pure love of God, which is the crown of all human endeavors. Alam Shastra Vyasar Alam Mahatirtat Nikaya Sadayo Shidvyagras Tasatapatatam Tut Kurudivam Chinamanya Danya Shayatakalasanyasikapatam Natantam Gorangam Nijadasamadadam Vuditate. O brothers, what need is there to painstakingly study many scriptures? Oh, what shall you gain by traveling with great effort to many holy places of pilgrimage? Oh, brothers, please always fear the dangerous association of women, who are by nature as fierce as tigers. Please consider the illusory happiness of the heavenly planets as insignificant as a blade of grass. Reject it and spit upon it. O fortunate devotees rich in pure love of God, please reject these things and take shelter of Lord Gauranga. While enacting the pastimes of a sannyasi, he is impelled by the bliss of the mellows of his own devotional service, and he is thus dancing in Jagannath Puri, which lies by the shore of the ocean. King Tavan Batato Gamesh Vipalam Yogadi Mogesho Bhaktim Krishna Padambujeva Tatataksa Vatamalun Tate Asha Prema Mahotsave Yadi Shiva Brahma Yalam Yed Guti Gode Dhammani Durvigahim Himodarita Darajita. Oh brothers, what useless result will you gain by following the path of Ashtanga Yoga and other difficult paths? Instead, please plunder the treasure house of pure love and devotion for the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. But this amazing and joyous festival of pure love of God is difficult even for Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva. If you have to attain that festival, then you should develop loving devotion for Lord Gaur Sundar, who is very magnanimous and whose glories are unfathomable. Yata yata Gaura Padara Vinde Vindeta Bhaktim Krita Punya Rashi Tata Tatotsa Patirinya Kasmat Radha Padam Bhoj Sudam Gaurashi. As much as a pious person develops pure devotional service for Lord Gaur Sundar's lotus feet, to that degree the ocean of the nectar of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet causelessly rises within his heart. Aparasya premo jvalrasadhasyamitanade nidanam brahme sarchitahiyah chaitanya chadana atastam dhyayantak punya bharato yanta shadanam dhameva promattas Dhammayakilagayanda Kutina. The lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, which Brahma and Shiva worship, are the reservoir wherein lies the nectarian ocean of the confidential secret of pure love of God in the conjugal mellow. With great love, saintly devotees in the age of Kali should continuously meditate upon and take shelter of those lotus feet. In this way they will become jubilantly intoxicated by tasting the nectar of pure love of God and chant the glories of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. Dande nidaya tunakambadayo nipatya kritvachakakushatameta barimi he sadavak sakalame vibahaya dura goranga chanda chadane kudotano ragam. O sir, I take a straw in my mouth and fall down at your feet and flatter you. You are such a great and intelligent man. There is none greater than you. You are so intelligent, rich, and beautiful. If you ask, why are you so humbly flattering me? What is your intention? Tell me. I reply, oh, you are a great sadhu. You have learned so many nice things. I know. But kick them out, please. Whatever nonsense rascaldom you have learned, whatever hogwash things are in your brain, kick them all out. Throw them all far away and just hear what Lord Caitanya Candra says and develop attraction for his lotus feet. This is my request. Aho na durlabha mukti nacha bhakti sudurlabha Gaurachandra prasadastu vaikunti pisudurlabha Aho na durlabha mukti nacha bhakti sudurlabha Gaurachandra prasadastu vaikunti pisudurlabha. It is not at all difficult to attain the 5 kinds of liberation, and it is not even difficult to attain the service of Lord Narayan in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha. But even in Vaikuntha Loka, it is very difficult indeed to attain the mercy of Lord Gaurachandra. In his commentary, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur notes that 3 benefits accrue to the recipient of Lord Gaurachandra's mercy. 1, he becomes purified of all unwanted material desires. 2, he becomes eligible to taste the mellows of pure devotional service. And 3, he attains the most exalted and sweet platform of pure devotional service, Madhurya Ras. Bhajantu Chaitanya Padara Vindam Bhavantu Sadhan Bhakti Rasena Purna Anandayantu Chijagan Vichittam Madhurya Saubhagya Dayakshamadhyo. Let the saintly devotees take shelter of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet and drown in the nectarian mellows of pure devotional service. Let them delight and astonish the 3 worlds with their charming gentleness, their good fortune of relishing the mellows of pure love of God, their compassion to the non-devotees, which is shown when they preach the glories of the chanting of the Lord's holy names, their great tolerance, and a host of other wonderful and auspicious qualities. Sangsara sindhu tadane vidayam yadi syat sankirtanam tadase ramante manaschit Premambudo bahadane yadi chitta vrittis Chaitanya chanda chadane shadanam prayatu. If you desire to cross the ocean of repeated birth and death in the material world, if your mind hankers to taste the nectar of the mellows of Sri Krishna Sankirtan, and if you yearn to swim and sport in the ocean of pure love of God, then you should take shelter of Lord Caitanya Chandra's lotus feet. Jnana vairagya bhaktyadi sadhyantu hyatatata Chaitanya chadanam bhoja bhakti lambyasa mankuta. Jnana vairagya bhaktyadi sadhyantu yatatata Chaitanya chadanam bhoja bhakti lambyasa mankuta. Where can one find the qualities of transcendental knowledge, renunciation, and devotion equal to those possessed by the devotees of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. Achaitanyamidam vishvam yadi chaitanyamishwaram nabhajet sarvato mrityu upasyam amarottamai. Achaitanyamidam vishvam yadi chaitanyamishwaram nabhajet sarvato mrityu upasyam amarottamai. If the dull and lifeless residents of this world do not worship Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, whom the greatest demigods worship, then they will find death and rebirth in the material world facing them from all directions. Ashayasya padadvanve Caitanyasya Mahaprabhu tasyendro dasavadbhati kakata nipakitake. Ashayasya padadvanve Caitanyasya Mahaprabhu tasyendro dasavadbhati kakata nipakitake. Compared with one who aspires to attain the lotus feet of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Indra appears like an insignificant servant. How then shall we compare that aspiring devotee with the insect-like kings of this world? Yasyasha Krishna Chaitanya Nipandvadikamartinaho Chandamani mayam prapya ko mudho vajatam vaji. Yasyasha Krishna Chaitanya Nipandvadikamartinaho Chandamani mayam prapya ko mudho vajatam vaji. Why should one who aspires to attain the great treasure house of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet go begging at the door of some king? Who would be so foolish that even after attaining a valuable Chintamani jewel, he would travel a great distance with much trouble simply to get a silver trinket? Dhyayanto gidikhandadesh bhavo brahmana bhuyasati yogam vyasa padascha santi bhavak siddhamahi mandale. Vidyasho yadana nibischa bhavo jalpanti mityodata kova godakipam vinaj jagati premon mado nrityati. Many men may remain in the mountains meditating and enjoying Brahmananda. Many may dedicate themselves to practicing Ashtanga Yoga and thus develop many mystic powers within this earthly sphere. Many others, intoxicated by learning, heroic strength, wealth, and the other false opulences of this world, may speak much nonsense. Many people may do all these things, but within this universe, who will dance mad with the ecstasy of pure love of God if he has not received the mercy of Lord Gaur Hari? Kashi vasi napanaganaye kingayama gayamo mukti shukti bhavati yadime kaparata prasanga dasa bhasak spodati namaharavavepi krabiti stri putradho yadikapayate deva devaksagoro. If Lord Gaur Sundar, the Lord of all lords, is merciful to me, and if for this reason I consider the impersonalists of Varanasi very unimportant, then why should I go on pilgrimage to Gaya to offer pinder to the ancestors? If Lord Gaur Sundar is merciful and my personal liberation does not weigh even as heavily as a fraction of an ounce to me, why should I be interested in religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification? And if Lord Gaur Sundar is merciful and I have not even the slightest fear of hell, then why should I be anxious about the well-being of my wife, children, friends, and relatives? Part 9. The Sri Chaitanyotkarshita, the exalted position of Lord Chaitanya. Matta Keshida Kishora Vikrama Prema Sindhu Jagadaplavojyamo Kopi Divmi Navahema Kundali Komalo Jayati Gora Chandama. All glories to the inexpressibly wonderful Lord Gaura Chandrama, who is as powerful as a mad young lion and as beautifully splendid as a young golden plantain tree. He vigorously churned the ocean of pure love of God and caused huge tidal waves that are inundating the entire universe. Saundarye kamakoti sakala janasamaladane chandakoti vatsalye matrakoti stridishabitapinam kotiraudnarya sari gambhiye mbobikoti modani manisudakshi dhamadvika koti goronde vaksajiyat pranaya rasapade darshitascha koti. Lord Gaurasundar is more beautiful than millions of cupids, and more pleasing to the people than millions of moons, more affectionate than millions of mothers, more magnanimous than millions of celestial desire trees, more profound than millions of oceans, and sweeter than millions of nectarian Sudha, Kshira, and Madhvika beverages. All glories to Lord Gaurasundar, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who displays millions of amazing sentiments of pure love of God in the most exalted conjugal melody. Sapadam bojayaka pranayalahadi sadhanavatam shivam brahmadinam apajasu mahavismayabratam mahaprema vishat kimipi natatam hunnatahiva prabhu godam jiyat prakatapadamascharya mahima. All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Gaurasundar, who displayed his supremely amazing glories in the company of his pure devotees. Impelled by the transcendental ecstasy of Mahabhava, Lord Gaurasundar danced like a madman, greatly astonishing Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and the other dancing devotees who were swimming in the waves of the ocean of super excellent pure love for his lotus feet. Madhyat koti maginda hunkoti davastigma shukoti chavihi koti ndur batashita logati jita pronmatta koti diva namna durgata koti nishkritikaro brahmadi koti sharak kotyan vaidashadomani vrjayate shri shri sachi nandana. Lord Sachinandana's voice is more powerful and deep than the roars of millions of angry lions, and his splendor is more brilliant than millions of suns. He is more cooling than millions of moons, and his gestures have defeated the graceful movements of millions of elephants in rut. With the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and other mantras containing his holy names, he delivers millions of the most wretched, sinful people. He is the supreme controller of Lord Brahma and millions of others, and he is the quest jewel of millions of impersonalists, because he is the origin of the impersonal Brahman, which is the object of their worship. All glories to that Sri Sachinandana. Yo margo durashunyo patahiya balavat khandako yoti durgo mityatha brahmakoya sapadir samaya nanda niksyandakoya sadnyak pranyoti yangstam prakatita mahima snehavan vidguhaya kopyantar dvanda handa jasajayiti navadri pradipyat pradipa. The path of pure devotional service is devoid of all material activities, and therefore it appears very long and impassable to the materialists. Alas, that path is very difficult to traverse, because it is obstructed by the sharp thorns of impersonal speculation and blind adherence to the Vedic rituals and duties. That path contains many deceptive turns, which are the false claims of those who pretend to be devotees. That path leads to the swiftly flowing brook of the bliss of the nectar of pure love of God. The indescribable and brilliant oil-laden lamp of Navadvip, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, immediately illuminates this difficult path and makes the glories of pure devotional service clearly manifest. All glories to that lamp which destroys all the darkness of ignorance within the innermost chambers of the heart. Dura devadahan kutarka salaban kotin sang shitalo jyoti kandala sadma sanmadudima bayantara dvantarit Sasnehashayavati divya visadateja suvarnanduti karunyadaya jajvaliti sanavadvipa padipodbuta. The transcendental lamp of Navadvip, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, attracts the moths of false logic from a great distance and then burns them to cinders. That very charming and splendid lamp is more cooling than millions of moons, and it destroys all darkness both externally and within the heart. That lamp's wick, Lord Chaitanya's mind, is impregnated with the oil of transcendental love and burns with a beautiful golden flame. That transcendental lamp mercifully burns within this material world at every moment. Chitkara dachadinmukam mukadayannattaha satchata vichi bisputa kundakaya dabaganat prodmhasiko vannavo sarvangam bhavanochalachalalayak prayak pakambam dadan mattak premanason mudaputagati goro harisho bhate. Impelled by great happiness, as well as by anxiety and longing to see Krishna, Lord Gaur Hari filled the 10 directions with his loud calls. With the splendid waves of his laughter, he illumined the sky and made it appear as if filled with white kunda and lotus flowers. His entire body trembled like a banyan tree moving in the wind. Intoxicated by the ecstatic sentiments of pure love of God, such as jubilation, pride, and anger, Lord Gaur Hari appeared very splendid as he danced like a madman. Nirdoshas charanityo vidita malinita vakkabhavakadachin nikshesa pranitapo tayahadana maha prema piyushavasi Udnbhutak kopi bhagyo dairuchidasachi garbhadugdhamborashir bhaktanam richakora sadata padaduchi bhati gauranga chandra. The gracefully dancing spotless moon of Lord Gaur Chandra dispels the darkness of night with its pleasant luster. That moon is free from any impurity or imperfection, and it removes the burning threefold miseries of the living entities by showering upon them the cooling nectar of pure love of God. The sweetness of that moon's effulgence is relished by the chakora birds, who are the devotees. That indescribable moon, having arisen from the milk ocean of the womb of the fortunate and beautiful Srimati Shachi Devi, is now shining very brilliantly. Sinchan, sinchan, nayana payasa pandu gandhastalantam munchan, munchan, pratimuhuraho dirga nikshvasa jatam Uchchay krandan, kodana kodano dhirna khahiti ravo Ghorakkopi vajbihanani bhava magnascha kasti. When Lord Gaurasundar became immersed in the nectarian ocean of ecstatic love experienced by Srimati Radharani in separation from her beloved Krishna, tears constantly fell from his eyes onto his pale cheeks. He continuously emitted long sighs and most plaintively cried, "Alas, alas!" Feeling Srimati Radharani's love in this way, Lord Gaurasundar appeared very splendid. Bimran varnam kimapi dhanoti naso varnasaram divnyakaram kimapi kalayan vritta gopala bala avishkuvan kvachadavasari tattarascha yalilam sakshad radha madhudapavapur bhati gauranga chandra. Lord Gauranga Chandra shines with great splendor, his ineffably beautiful complexion like molten gold. Sometimes he manifests the indescribable transcendental form of Lord Krishna, the divine cowherd boy of Braja, performs various amazing pastimes, and sometimes reveals his actual form of Shri Shri Radha Muraripu, or Radha Krishna combined. Part 10, the Avatara Mahima, glorification of Lord Chaitanya's incarnation. Akasmadevavir bhavati bhagavan alahari paritanam papar apipurubiresham tanubatam mahovadnja prayam vidpinavanita hitamabuhun hinam loke yasmin avatadati goro mamagati. Now that Lord Gaurasundar has incarnated within this world, the waves of the holy names of Lord Krishna are suddenly flooding this planet, and the hearts of the greatly sinful conditioned souls, which were as hard as thunderbolts, have become as soft as fresh butter. Let me take shelter of that Lord Gaurasundar. Na yogo na dhyanam na cha japatapastyaga niyama na veda na charak Gunabhat nishidha jupadati akasma chaitanye vatadate dayasada vidiye pamatanam maunim padamiha mudalun tatijana. Now that Lord Chaitanya, whose heart is overflowing with mercy, has incarnated within this world, those living entities who had formerly never practiced yoga, meditated, chanted mantras, performed austerities, followed various Vedic restrictions, studied the Vedas, acted in a saintly manner, or refrained from committing sins, are able to plunder with great delight pure love of God, which is the crest jewel of all human endeavors. Mahakarma sroto nipatitamapistaymayate mahapashanebhyo Gati nameti dabadasham hatatyo davam niksadanamapi mahayoga manasam bhuvi Shri Chaitanye vatadati manas chitta vibhavehi. Now that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is full of amazing opulences, has incarnated within this world, these smarta Brahmins who had fallen into the raging river of fruitive activities have become firmly situated on the dry land of pure love of Krishna. Now that Lord Chaitanya has incarnated, even great boulders, the hard hearts of the materialists, have melted in the ecstasy of pure love of Krishna. Even those whose minds were fixed in the practice of mystic yoga have given up their yoga practice and are jubilantly dancing, impelled by the emotions of pure love of God. Striputra dikatham jaho vashahinak shastra pravadam buddha yogindra vajaho marun yamaja klesham tapastapasa Jnana vyasavadim jahuschayata yaschetanya chandre param avishkovate bhakti yoga padavim naivanya asidrasa. Now that Lord Caitanya Chandra has shown the path of pure devotional service, the materialists have given up talking about their wives, children, and so on. The learned scholars and magicians have given up debating the meaning of the scriptures. The expert yogis have given up their troublesome attempt to control the respiration. The ascetics have abandoned their austerities, and the Mayavadis have given up their study of impersonal philosophy. Indeed, nothing except the sweet taste of pure devotional service can now be relished. Abudge ge tumalahari sankirtanaravo bhavo de vapalapalakashu vatikada api snehe vamalamadodot karshapadavi davi asyanayad apijakati gore vatadati. When Lord Gaurasundar incarnated within this world, tumultuous sounds of Harinam Sankirtan resounded in every home, and everyone's body appeared very splendid, decorated with tears, bodily hairs standing up, and many other symptoms of ecstasy. When Lord Gaurasundar incarnated, the transcendental, sweet, super-excellent path of pure devotional service, unavailable even in the Vedas, was manifested. Akasmari vaitad bhuvanamabitak plavitamabhud mahapremam bodhi Kimibira savanya badakilam akasmat cha drishta shritachadavikara lamabu chamatkara krishne kanagaduchidangi vatadati. When the all-attractive Lord Krishna, assuming a splendid golden form, incarnated within this world, the entire universe was suddenly inundated in all directions by the waves of exalted pure love of Krishna. Everyone became amazed at the sudden appearance of symptoms of ecstatic love that no one had ever seen or heard of before. Udvinnandi samasta shastramabhito novada garvahita dhanyam mannandi yascha karma tapasadyuchara cheshu stito Dvitranyeva japanti kechana hare namam nivamasya purvam sampati godachanda udite premapti sadharana. Formerly, many scholars were incurably proud, thinking they had studied all the scriptures. Many thought they had become all successful and perfect by following the ritualistic duties enjoined in the Smriti Shastras, or by performing austerities or yoga. Sometimes, with an impure heart, some of these fellows would twice or thrice chant the holy names of Lord Hari. Although this was formerly the case, now that the moon of Lord Gaurachandra has arisen, all of them have attained pure love of Krishna. Devi Caitanya Naman Yavatadati Suram Pratyaparam Jasevi Vishwandrichi Pravishta Vaidi Sumodara Prema Piyusha Vichi Gobalakascha Vidha Kahiya Jadamati Kavadu Kopavaka Sarvesham Magarasyam Kimapi Hadipadi Bhakti Bhajam Babhuva. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, whose lotus feet the demigods aspire to serve, has appeared in this world and caused the waves of the extremely sweet nectar of pure love of God to flood the entire universe. Thus men, women, young, old, foolish, and even wretched, sinful people have become devoted to the lotus feet of Lord Hari. Sarvesham Gananadadyahi Hayata Swayam Shvirapi Bhraptan Devahalayudopi Milito Jataschate Vrishnayaho Bhuyakim Vajavasino Pipakata Gopala Gopyadayak Purno Premadasheshwari Vatadati Shri Gaurachandre Bhuvi. When Lord Gaurachandra, the all-perfect Supreme Personality of Godhead, the crest jewel of all who relish the mellows of pure love of God, appeared on this earth, Lord Shiva, Narada Muni, and all the other residents of the higher planetary system arrived with him, appearing as Advaita Acharya, Srivas, and other devotees. The goddess of fortune, Srimati Lakshmi Devi, also appeared as Srimati Lakshmi Priya and Srimati Vishnu Priya, as did Lord Balaram as Lord Nityananda. The members of the Yadu dynasty appeared as Shachi Devi, Jagannath Mishra, and others. What to speak of the cowherd men, boys, and gopis of Brajabhumi like Nanda Maharaj, Subal, and Lalita. Britya snigdha atisumodara ponjolodara vajas tatpadamja vitiya savide sarva evatitina Vrapum purva dikatadamaha prema piyusha lakshmim swapremanam vitidati jagat yadmutam hemagori. When golden-complexioned Lord Gaurasundar distributed his own pure love of God in this world, his servants and affectionate friends accompanied him and stayed near his lotus feet. Even his most intimate associates, the gopis, who were beautifully adorned with the most exalted, splendid, and sweet mellows of conjugal love, did so. All these devotees attained a treasure of the nectar of pure love of God even greater than what was formerly attainable when Lord Krishna displayed his pastimes. Ahasantyucharuchai ahakulabandho pipadito javibhavam gacchand apikuvishaya gravakatita Diraskuvantiyagya apisakalashastragisamitam chito Shri Chaitanye bhutamahimasare vatadati. Since Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is full of astonishing transcendental glories, appeared on this earth, women have abandoned their customary shyness and are loudly laughing, impelled by the sentiments of pure love of God. Everywhere the stone-like hearts of the hedonists are melting, and even the uneducated but sincere devotees who have received Lord Chaitanya's mercy are defeating the community of non-devotee scholars learned in all the scriptures. Bhrayaschaitanyamasid apisakalavidham neha purvam yaresham karva sarvatasari prakratanahi padam kuntita buddhi vritti gambiro dadabhavo dvadadasamodora prema bhakti pravesham kesham nasididani jagadikadunaya godachandreva tirne. Before the appearance of Lord Gaurachandra in this world, the so-called learned scholars were not very much inclined to engage in the devotional service of Lord Krishna, and because their intelligence was blunted and crippled by many doubts, pure love of Krishna was rare to see. But now that Lord Gaurasundar has mercifully incarnated within this universe, who has not attained the sweet, pure devotional service of Lord Krishna in the profound, mysterious, super excellent, amazing and splendid conjugal mellow? Srimad Bhagavatasya yattapadamam tatpayamutenkitam Shivayasaki nadodam vayatayarasa prasangi piyor Yad radhavati keli nagadada svadaika sadbhajanam Tadvastu patanaya godavapashaloke vatino hari. Assuming a golden form, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, incarnated within this world to reveal the confidential meaning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the sweet mellow of the amorous pastimes of Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna, the hero of Vrindavan. In the description of the rasa dance found in the Bhagavatam itself, Srila Shukadeva Goswami only hinted at this meaning. Kechandasima vaporunavamukha slagyam pare liberi Shridamadipadam vajambudadishambhavancha bejukpare Anye danyatamadayandi sudayo radhapadamboruham Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabho kadunayalokasya kaksampada. What treasures have the living entities not attained by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? By Lord Chaitanya's mercy, Uddhava and others attained the intimate service of Lord Krishna in Braja. By Lord Chaitanya's mercy, others attained the glorious intimate friendship of the Lord, just as Sri Dama and others experience. By Lord Chaitanya's mercy, some have become lotus-eyed gopis in Vrindavan. By Lord Chaitanya's mercy, some very intelligent and fortunate devotees are tasting the nectar of the service of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati comments that the Uddhava of Krishna Lila also appeared in Chaitanya Lila. Eventually he became a cowherd boy in Vrindavan in Sakya Dasya Ras, like Raktaka and Patraka. Sarvagnyar muni pungavai pavitate tattinmate yuktivi bhuvam nai katarattato visuridam vishwasta asidjana Sampratya pratima prabhava udite gauranga chande punak shutyato hari bhakti deva padamakavana nidhayati. Formerly, the greatest and most learned of the sages presented various logical arguments to support their conflicting views, and no one could be confident that he had actually found the truth. But now that the incomparably splendid and powerful moon of Lord Gauranga Chandra has risen, who will not accept the conclusion that pure devotional service to Lord Hari is the actual meaning and purpose of the Vedas? Vishwam Mahavanaya Sada Sudhara Saika Patam Nidosalakame Vinabanjayantam Gauranga Chandanaka Chandamanichhataya Kanchin Vichittamanobbhavamaham Smarami. Let me meditate upon the astonishing and indescribable splendor of the Chandramani jewels of Lord Gauranga Chandra's toenails. That splendor has drowned the entire universe in the ocean of the super excellent nectar of the most elevated pure love of God. Atipunna atisukata katati katakopipurmai evam kartapinakatam yat premam do nimanjitam vishwam. Although many very pious and religious persons attained the spiritual world of Vaikuntha and thus became successful, still, until the advent of Lord Caitanya Candra, the universe had not been drowned in the ocean of pure love of God. Dharme nishtam dadadanupamam Vishnu bhaktim garishtam Sambibhrano dadadayaririt tishtati svashmasaram Nicho gognad apijagadaho Blavayatyasyupurai Kova janat yahya gaganam Hema gorangarangam. Though one may faithfully perform pious acts in this world or render incomparable, super excellent devotional service to Lord Vishnu, his heart may remain as hard as iron. Nevertheless, by Lord Gauranga's mercy, even a person more sinful than a cow-killer may flood the universe with a great stream of ecstatic tears of pure love for Krishna. Oh, when this happens, who can measure the intense delight felt by golden Lord Gauranga? Kvachit Krishna Vesham Natati Bahubhangi Mabhinayam Kvachit Radha Vishto Hadi 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 Tyati Viditak Kvachit Ringan Balak Kvachit Apich Gopala Chadito Jagad Ghoro Visma Paita Bahugam Hida Mahima. Assuming the role of Lord Krishna, Lord Gaur Sundar would sometimes crawl about as a small child, sometimes dance with many graceful motions, and sometimes manifest the pastimes of a cowherd boy. Sometimes he would experience the ecstatic love felt by Srimati Radharani. Greatly distressed with feelings of separation from Krishna, he would call out, Hari, Hari, Hari. In this way, Lord Gaur Sundar, whose profound glories are very difficult to understand, astonished the entire universe. Velayam lavanambudir madudima pragbhavasaras paralilayam navaballavi vasanadera veshayanti jagat Velayam apishaishave nirjusha vishvaika sammohini murti kachana kanchana dravamayi chittaya merochite. Immersed in the ecstatic love Srimati Radharani feels for Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna appeared in this world as the golden Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who from his very youth enchanted the entire world with the splendor of his transcendental form. May that golden Lord, who performs pastimes in Jagannath Puri on the shore of the saltwater ocean, delight my mind. Brahmanaman bhutata Shravana patagatak kasya namnam mahimno Govekta kasya vrindavana vipana maha madurishu pravesho Govanjahati radham padamarasa chamatkada madhurya sima Ekas Caitanya Candrak padamakadunaya savamavishchakaro. Although pure love of God is the amazing, supreme goal of life, before Lord Caitanya appeared in this world, who had even heard the words pure love of God? Who had perceived the glories of chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna? Who had entered into the great sweetness found in the groves of Vrindavan? Srimati Radharani is situated at the topmost limit of the astonishing sweetness of the most exalted stage of pure love of God, conjugal love for Krishna. But before Lord Caitanya appeared, who had really understood Srimati Radharani? It is only Lord Caitanya Candra who has mercifully revealed all these truths. Part 11. Sri Gaura Rupo Lasa Nrityadi. The splendor of Lord Chaitanya's form and his ecstatic dancing. Purna Prema Dasamrtabdi Lahari Lolanga Gorachata Ghotyachadita Vishwamishadavadi Vyasadibi Samstutam Dolakshyam Shrutikoti Bipakatayan Murtim Jagan Mohinim Ascharyan Labanhoda Rodasipadam Brahmaswayam Rityati. The Supreme Absolute Truth is glorified by the prayers of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Srila Vyasadeva, and many others. His form, which enchants the entire universe, is difficult to understand, even by studying millions of Vedic scriptures. That absolute truth is now tossed about by the waves from the ocean of the nectar of perfect pure love for God, and millions of rays of His golden effulgence have illuminated the entire universe. That amazing Supreme Brahman is now personally dancing at Jagannath Puri on the shore of the saltwater ocean. Koyam pattadati vadajitakati deshakare kankanam haram bhakshasi kundalam shavanayo bimratpate nuparam Odvi Krishna badna kuntala bada protkulla malli saga pida pidati godanaga davaro nityam nijaya namabhi. Who is this indescribable golden-complexioned person who wears a loincloth about his hips? His hands are decorated with bracelets, his chest with a necklace, his ears with earrings, and his ankles with bells, and he wears a garland of mully flowers in his bound-up hair. He performs pastimes, chanting his own holy names and dancing, and he relishes the taste of pure love for Krishna. Deva dunda vivadanam vidadire gandhava mukya jagu siddha sandata pushpa vishtibidiryam vitvim samachadayan Divya stotra paramaharshi navahak fityopatastu nija brahmonmadani thandavam mutayati Shri Gaura Chandre bhuvi. When Lord Gaurasundar became mad with pure love of God and ecstatically danced within this earthly sphere, the demigods sounded dundubi drums, the principal Gandharvas sang the Lord's holy names, the siddhas covered the earth with a continuous shower of flowers, and the great sages, expert at composing beautiful prayers, offered hymns to glorify Him. Chanam hasati rodati, chanamatakshanam murchati, chanam latati dhavati, chanamatakshanam hrityati, chanam swatati munchati, chanamodara haharatim mahapanyasiduna viharati goro hari. Drowned in the nectarian ocean of ecstatic conjugal love for Krishna, Lord Gaurhari would laugh at one moment, and the next at one moment he would faint, and the next he would roll about on the ground. At one moment he would run, and a moment later ecstatically dance. At one moment he would deeply sigh, and at the next moment he would loudly call out, "Alas, alas!" In this way Lord Gaurhari performed his pastimes on this earth. Ashunam kimapi pravahandavahai chaunim parakpankilam Kovan pantale nadaya vidadapandam kapolastali. Ashtayam lavanodaroda sivasanchonam dadano sukham. Godim bhuya hadisayam vatanote radhapadabjiratim. Assuming a golden complexion and accepting the saffron garment of a sannyasi, the Supreme Lord Hari resides on the shore of the saltwater ocean. Placing his cheeks as pale as bimba fruits in his hands, he muddies the ground with the raging rivers of his tears. In this way, the Supreme Lord is wonderfully manifesting ecstatic love for Srimati Radharani's lotus feet.
Padagattadavadishomukadayan netrambasham bindubi Shaunim pankalayan naho vashadayan nattattahasarnabo Chandra jyotirdara sundadakati vyalola sonambara Ko devo lavanoda kulakasamodhyani moda nrityati. Oh, who is this divine person blissfully dancing in a flower garden on the shore of the saltwater ocean? He is as splendid as the moon, and his waist is adorned with the saffron garment of a sannyasi. All the directions resound with the sound of his footsteps, and the ground has become muddied with the tears flowing from his eyes. With his loud laughter he has turned the sky white, as if it were full of clouds. Part 12. Shochika, Lament. Sarvaramnaya chuda manavidapana sanglakshite yatsvarupam Shrisha brahma jagamya samudada padavi kapi yasyate ramya Yena kasma jagat shri harirasmadira mattame tadvidahi Shrimat Caitanya Candramrta sakamamagira gocharas chetasova. Lord Caitanya Chandra's transcendental form was not described in any of the Upanishads, the crest jewels of the Vedas. The delightful path of the most exalted aspect of pure devotional service delineated by him cannot be understood by Lakshmi Devi, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, the four Kumaras, or their disciplic followers, the Ramanuja, Vishnu Swami, Madhva, and Nimbarka Sampradayas, although Lord Chaitanya's followers may easily understand it. Lord Caitanya caused this entire universe to become suddenly intoxicated by drinking the Madura liquor of the mellows of pure love for Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Will that supremely opulent Lord Caitanya Candra come within the range of my words or thoughts? Jyadyam karma sukutrachid japatapo yogadikam kutrachid govindachana vikriya krachadapi jnanabhimana krachid Shri bhakti krachidunjvala pichahare vanmata evastita aha chaitanya kato katosi padavi kutrapite nikshite. O Shri Krishna Chaitanya, where have you gone? Although somewhere people are indifferent to material activities, and somewhere people are chanting mantras, performing austerities, performing mystic yoga or other similar activities, although somewhere people are nicely worshipping Lord Govinda according to the regulative principles, although somewhere people are engaging in devotional service mixed with the quest for knowledge, and although somewhere the pure devotional service of Lord Hari in the splendid and exalted conjugal mellow is described in words, that actual path of pure devotional service in the conjugal mellow, which you followed, is not anywhere to be seen. Abhivyakto yatra jutakanaka goro harirabhum mahimna tasyaiva pranayava samagnam jagadabu aburuchai tumalahari sankirtanavadi sakala kimbuyo vyahayabhivati tamorora. When Lord Hari, assuming a complexion as fair as molten gold, appeared within this material world, tumultuous chanting of the holy names of Lord Hari arose everywhere, and by the Lord's influence the entire universe was inundated by the ocean of the nectar of pure love of God. Oh, will that sweet time ever come again? Saive yambubi dhanya goda nagari ve lapi saivambudi so yam shri purushotamo mudupatisthanyeva namanitu nokutrapi nadikshati hari hari premotsavastadrisho aha chaitanya kripanidhana tabakim dikshe punarvaibhavam. The most auspicious town of Navadvip remains on this earth, and the city of Jagannath Puri, which is like a garden, remains on the seashore. Lord Jagannath remains, and the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra also remains. But O Lord Hari, although these remain, I do not see anywhere the blissful festival of pure love of God that I formerly saw. O Lord Chaitanya, O ocean of mercy, will I ever again see your transcendental opulence? Yadi nigatitami nadyang shavan goda chandro natatabisahi kaschit shakti lila vakasho atula sakala shakyascha yalila pakasha anagatita mahatvak puna eva vatino. If someone says that Lord Gaurachandra is a pastime or empowered incarnation of the Supreme Lord, like Lord Matsya and Lord Varaha, then he does not understand Lord Gaurachandra's actual glory. Lord Gaurachandra is the complete, original, Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, and He has descended into this world with all His unequaled potencies and amazing pastimes. Brahmeshadi Mahashchaya Mahima Be Mahaprabho Mugna Balo Ditam Shrutnvas Digno Vashyam Bhavishyati. The transcendental opulence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu astonishes even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Narayana. Even though I am like a foolish child, I pray that when Lord Chaitanya hears these words of mine, he will be pleased with me and grant me his mercy. Drishtam na shastram guravo na drishta vivechitam napi bodhai subudnya yata tata jalpatu bala bhavat tataiva me goda hari pasidatu. Although I have not studied the scriptures, learned from many spiritual masters, nor discussed the meaning of the scriptures with many learned scholars, just like a foolish boy, I am trying to describe the glories of Lord Gaur Hari. Although this attempt of mine is very foolhardy, may that Lord Gaur Hari become pleased with me nevertheless. Thus ends the Sri Caitanya Candramrta. What follows is the Sri Nityanandashtaka by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Sarat Chandra Branti Spododamalakanti Ngajakati Hari Premon Mattam Jitapadamasadvam Smitamukam Sadagun Nannetam Kadakalatavetam Kalibadam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanata Dukandam Nadavadhi. I worship Lord Nityananda, the unlimited root of the tree of devotional service. He appears like an autumn moon, very splendid and free of any taint. Maddened with pure love for Lord Hari, he walks as gracefully as an elephant, and his eyes constantly roll about. He is the absolute truth. His face is smiling, and holding a staff in his hand, he disperses the influence of the age of Kali. Prasanna Magaram Sajanagana Savasumatulam Tadiyaka Pranam Pamatavasudajana Papati Sada Premon Madam Padmavadita Mandamanasam Bhaje Nityananda Bhaje Nityananda Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanata Dukandam Nadabadhi. I worship Lord Nityananda, the unlimited root of the tree of devotional service. He is the abode of the mellows of devotional service. No one can be compared to him, and he is the be-all and end-all for his devotees. He is the Lord of Janava Devi, the goddess who considers Lord Nityananda more dear to her than life. Because he is always maddened with pure love of God, the unintelligent non-devotees cannot understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Sachi sunu prishtam nikalach gadishtam sukamayam kholo manjan jivo dhamanakadono dhamakadonam Hare Rakyanan Vam Babajadati Gavunati Haram Bhaje Nityananda Bhaje Nityananda Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanata Dukandam Nadabadi. I worship Lord Nityananda, the unlimited root of the tree of devotional service. He is very dear to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Shachi Devi, and he is worshipped by the entire universe. He is very cheerful, and out of his great mercy, he delivers the souls immersed in the Kali Yuga. By chanting the holy name of Lord Hari, he removes the false ego born from the ocean of material life. Ay Brataninam Kalikalashanam Kinnu Bhavita Tata Prayashchittam Rachiyahidana Yasitahime Vajanti Tvamitam Sahabhagavata Manjayatiyo Bhaje Nityananda Bhaje Nityananda Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanata Dukandam Nadabadhi. I worship Lord Nityananda, the unlimited root of the tree of devotional service. He spoke to Lord Chaitanya saying, "O brother, the people are all infected with the sins of Kali Yuga. How will they be able to atone for these sins? Please give them some way by which they will be able to easily approach you." Yatishtam re brata kudu hari hari dvana manasham Tato vaksansaram buddhatavanadayo mahilage Hidambahu spotar hatativatayam yakpativaham Bhaje Nityananda Bhaje Nityananda Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanata Dukandam Nadabadhi. I worship Lord Nityananda, the unlimited root of the tree of devotional service. He went to each house and raised his arms, saying, "O brother, if you will, please constantly chant the holy name of Lord Hari. If you do this, you will become free from the ocean of birth and death in the material world. Please give me the gift of your liberation." Balat samsaram bodhi hadanakun bodhavamaho Satam shre yuk sindhu natikumada bandum samudidam Kalashre nispujit madahadasuya prabhamaham Bhaje Nityananda Bhaje Nityananda Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanata Dukandam Nadabadhi. I worship Lord Nityananda, the unlimited root of the tree of devotional service. He is the august Jamuni who forcibly swallows the ocean of material existence. And he is the rising full moon, which is the friend of the lotus flowers and which increases the ocean of the welfare of the saintly devotees. He is the blazing sun who removes the darkness of the community of demons. Natantam magayantam harnamanavadantam patipati vrajantam pasyantam sumapi nadayantam janaganam bhagovantam santam sakadana jagantam bhagalana bhaje nityananda bhaje nityananda bhaje nityanandam bhajanata dukandam bhadavadi. I worship Lord Nityananda, the unlimited root of the tree of devotional service. He traveled on every path, singing and dancing. He constantly chanted Hari Hari. Without considering his own interests, he was merciful to the people, and he gave them his merciful sidelong glance. Subhimranam bratu kadakada sajam ko malatadam mito vaktaroho chatatapadamaananda vidiyam brahmantam adhurya aharamadayandam bhajana bhaje nityananda bhaje nityananda bhaje nityanandam bhajanata dukandam nadavadi. I worship Lord Nityananda, the unlimited root of the tree of devotional service. He held the beautiful lotus hand of his brother Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and when they glanced at each other's lotus faces, their hearts became full of transcendental bliss. They wandered throughout the towns of Bengal and delighted the people there with their sweet beauty. Rasana Madara Rasakafodasan Vaishnavadanam Rasagaram Saram Patatatitaram Smalamatam Padam Nityananda Shtakamidam Apuvam Patatiya Tadam Gridvan Vabjam Spodadantadam Tasavidiye. These 8 verses glorifying Lord Nityananda are the abode of the mellows of devotional service, and they are the wealth of the pure devotees, expert at relishing those mellows. All the fallen conditioned souls can get liberation just by remembering them. These verses are very excellent, transcendental, and unprecedented. May the 2 lotus feet of Lord Nityananda eternally appear in the hearts of those who read these verses and remember the Lord. What follows is the Shri Gauranga Stava Kalpa Vriksha, the desire tree of verses about Lord Gauranga, by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Verses 4 through 8 were translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the remainder by Sriman Kushakarta Das. Gatim drishtva yasya Bhamadagandavahi kevajana Mukam chashri chando Padidadati tutkaranavaha Sakandya yaksana Chalamadaya chirichavachas Tadangar gorango Vidyahudayan mamadayati. Anyone who sees the graceful gait and beautiful face of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu repeatedly spits on the gracefulness of the most elegant elephant and the splendor of the moon. The luster of Sri Caitanya's body appears like that of the golden mountain Sumeru, and his words are like waves of nectar. May that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu appear within my heart and madden me. Alankrityatmanam
Nava Vivadatnari Vivalan Vivanatan Vastambas Puchavachanakam Bashapulakai Hasan Svidyan Nityan Shitikitipatini Badamude Pudakshi Gorango Vidya Hodayam Mamadayati. Laughing, perspiring, and dancing, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu decorated himself with many intense symptoms of ecstatic love in order to please Lord Jagannath, the master of Nilachala. These symptoms of becoming pale, becoming stunned, stuttering speech, trembling, crying incessant tears, and standing up of the hairs on the body appeared like 9 different jewels on the Lord's body. Appearing in that way, may Lord Chaitanya arise within my heart and make me become like a madman. Rasolasaistiya Gatavidabitovad Vidalam Drisho Sincha Lokan Odunadalayandratamitiyo Mudadantar Dashtva Modadam Kampichalita Natanshi Gorango Vidya Hudayan Mamadayati. Impelled by the jubilation of ecstatic love for Krishna, Lord Chaitanya trembled and moved awkwardly as he danced. He joyfully bit his charming lips with his teeth, and his eyes appeared to be reddish syringes, abundantly sprinkling tears upon all around him. May that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu arise in my heart and make me mad with love. Kvachin Mishravasi Vatipati Sutasyor Vedaha Shlatachi Sandhitvad Dadadatigadargyam Bujapado Lutanbum Malkakva Bekalabakalam Gangadabacha Rudanshi Gorango Vidyahodayan Mamadayati. Sometimes, when Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was at the house of Kashi Mishra, he would be greatly aggrieved, feeling separation from Krishna. The joints of his transcendental body would slacken, and his arms and legs would become elongated. Rolling on the ground, the Lord would cry out in distress in a faltering voice and weep very sorrowfully. The appearance of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, awakening in my heart, maddens me. Anungatya dvaro Tvaya mudachabiti Tvaya maho Vilangyochai kaling Gikasudabhimandhi nepatita Dhanudyat sankochar Kamata eva Krishno vidahar Virajan gorango Vidyahodayan mamadayati. How wonderful it is! Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu left his residence without opening the 3 strongly bolted doors. Then he crossed over 3 high walls, and later, because of strong feelings of separation from Krishna, he fell down amidst the cows of the Tailanga district and retracted all the limbs of his body like a tortoise. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared in that way, rises in my heart and maddens me. Asakiyasya prana buddhasadisha goshtasya vidaha balapanunmada satatamatiku vandakaladhi dadanvita shasva vadanabudugashin vididam chatotam gorango vidyahodayan mamadayati. Because of separation from his many friends in Vrindavan, who were like his own life, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a madman. His intelligence was transformed. Day and night he rubbed his moon-like face against the walls, and blood flowed from the injuries. May that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu rise in my heart and make me mad with love. Akamekanta Krishna Stvaritam Hatam Lokaya Saki Dhameveti Dvara Dipamabivadan Unvadahiva Jutam Gachandrashtun Priyamati Taduktain Jitatan Bujanda Gorango Vidyahodayan Namudayati. My dear friend, the doorkeeper, where is Krishna, the Lord of my heart? Kindly show him to me quickly. With these words, Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu addressed the doorkeeper like a madman. The doorkeeper grasped his hand and replied very hastily, "Come, see your beloved." May that Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu rise within my heart and thus make me mad also. Samipe Nilandris Chakadagadirajasakalana Aye Goshte Gova Dhanagili Patim Loki Tumita Rajanasmi Juktva Pramadahi Vadavan Avadito Ganaiswa Gorango Vidyahodayan Mamadayati. Near Jagannath Puri was a great sand dune known as Chataka Parvata. Seeing that hill, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Oh, I shall go to the land of Braja to see Govardhan Hill." Then he began running madly toward it, and all the Vaishnavas ran after him. This scene awakens in my heart and maddens me. Alandola Kela Mahasivadatan Mandavatale Sudupena Svena Patni Jaganena Pimilita Swayam Kuvanamnam Atimonodagana Modobidhak Sadango Gorango Vidyahodayan Mamadayati. Under an excellent pavilion at Lord Krishna's swing festival, accompanied by his own Swarup Damodar and other intimate devotees, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, with his own voice, sweetly and jubilantly sang the holy names of Lord Krishna, the destroyer of the Moor demon. This scene awakens in my heart and maddens me. Dayam yoga vinde Godadahiva Lakshmi Padidalam Puri Deve Bhakti Yaiva Guruvahe Yaduvarat Sudupe Yaksneha Gididad Iva Shila Subale Vidate Gorango Vidyahodayan Mamadayati. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was very merciful to his servant Govindadas, just as Lord Narayan, the master of Lakshmi Devi, is to Garuda. And he was greatly devoted to Srila Ishwara Puri, just as Lord Krishna, the most exalted member of the Yadu dynasty, was to Sandipani Muni, the best of acharyas. He was greatly affectionate to Swarup Damodar, just as Lord Krishna, the lifter of Govardhan Hill, was to his friend Subal. That same Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu awakens within my heart and makes me mad after him. Mahasambandavad apipatitamudhritya kipaya sadupe yaksviye kujanamapi mamyasya mudita Urogunjaharam Priyamapicha Govardhanashilam Dhadame Gorango Vidyahodayan Mamadayati. Although I am a fallen soul, the lowest of men, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu delivered me from the blazing forest fire of great material opulence by his mercy. He handed me over in great pleasure to Swarup Damodar, his personal associate. The Lord also gave me the garland of Gunja that he wore on his chest and a stone from Govardhan Hill, although they were very dear to him. That same Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu awakens within my heart and makes me mad after him. This translation is by Srila Prabhupada.
Iti Shri Gaurango Gata Vivada Sadbhava Kusamo Vabam Rajat Panja Balilalta Shaka Suratorum Moho Yoti Shudha Shadi Bala Bala Pata Salila Alam Sinche Dindi Sadasagaduta Lokanapalam. This poem is like a celestial desire tree, and the verses of this poem are the charming branches. Those branches appear very splendid because of the blossoming flowers of variegated forms of ecstatic love for Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu that grow there. If one regularly waters this tree with a great quantity of the water of careful and pure reading, mixed with the most powerful medicine of great faith, then he will certainly be able to reap that tree's heavy nectarian fruit, the personal audience of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. What follows is the Sri Guru Druma Chandra Bhajanopadesh by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Translations by Sriman Kushakrata Das. Yarite Haripada Roja Sudara Sapana Param Vidayam Satatam Pariritya Griham Kali Bhavamayam Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Dhannayo vanna jivanna rajasukam nahi nityamanukshana nasha param Jajagramyakata sakalam vipalam bhaja godrumakanana kunja vidum bhaja godrumakanana kunja vidum Ramani Jana Sangha Sukham Chasake Charame Bhayadam Purushataharam Harinama Sundara Samattamati Banja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Jadakavya Raso Nahi Kavya Rasa Kali Pavana Gora Raso Hirasa Alamanya Katha Janushilanaya Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Vrishabhanusutan Vitavamatanum Yamuna Tatanagarananda Sutan Murali Kalagita Vinora Param Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Hari Kirtana Majagatam Sarjanai Pariveshtita Jambuna Dabhari Nijagoda Janaika Kripa Jaladim Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Girirajasuta Parivida Griham Navakhanda Patim Yati Chittaharam Surasanganutam Priyaya Sahitam Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunda Vidum Kali Kukuram Ungaram Bhavandaram Harinamam Mahaushadadana Param Patitatandayandra sumurti dharam banja Kodrumakanana kunja vedum banja Kodrumakanana kunja vedum Ripu bandava veda vihinandayayana Bhikshna mudeti mukabjatato Dhamma Krishna meha vranjaraja sutam Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Iha chopanishat varigita vibodhi jaraja sutak Bhurata bahari Nijanam nikelati bandhu yuto Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Avatara varam paripurna kalam Bharatattvam vihatma vilasamayam Vranjandamadasam buddhi guptarasam Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Shruti-varnadhanarina yasya kripa janane Balavad bhajanena vina Dhammahoy tukam bhava patena sakhe Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Apinoktra gatoradhamma jagatam kamamocha yadatajjanam tamajam Avichinjabalam shiva kalpatarum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Surabhindra tapak varitushtamana varavarnadaro hariravidabu Dhammajasa sukham munidharyaharam Bhaja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Abhilasachayantarbhirandhiyam Ashubham cha jasavamidam Anukulataya priya sevanaya Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Hari sevaka sevana dama paro Hari nama rasamita panarato Nati dainyandaya paramana yuto Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Vadiyadava Madhava Krishna Hari Vara Rama Janardana Kesava He Vrishambhanu Sutta Priyanata Sada Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Varyamunatiravanadipati Vara Gokulakanana punjarave Vara rasarasayana gora hari Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Charala Goravanam Navakandamayam Pattagora Hari Charitani Muda Luttagora Padankita Gangatatam Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Bhanja Godrumakanana kunda vedum Smara Gora Gadadhara Kelikalam Bhava Gora Gadadhara Pakshachara Ashinu Goda Gadadara Charu Katam Bhaja Golden Makanana Kunda Vidum 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 Bhaja O friend, if you desire to drink the nectarian beverage of service to the lotus feet of Lord Hari, and if your home has become a fortress for the age of quarrel and an impediment to your devotional service, then just give up such a home and worship Lord Caitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. O friend, please consider this. Wealth, youth, royal happiness, and the very existence of this material body are all temporary and liable to be destroyed at any moment. Give up all attachment to them and abandon all fruitless chattering about material news and affairs. Just worship Lord Caitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. O friend, the happiness of female association robs one of the real goal of life, and in the end it places one in a very fearful condition. Just give up that so-called happiness and become intoxicated by the nectar of the holy names of Lord Hari. Worship Lord Caitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. So-called nectarian poetry describing dull material topics is not at all sweet. The actual nectar is in the glorification of Lord Caitanya, the purifier of the Kali Yuga. What is the use of studying these dull material poems? Just give them up and worship Lord Caitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Lord Caitanya is actually that same Supreme Personality who appeared as the son of Maharaj Nanda. He was fond of playing the flute sweetly. With Srimati Radharani on his left side, he performed charming and delightful pastimes on the shore of the Yamuna River. O friend, please worship that Supreme Person, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Surrounded by his associates, Lord Caitanya chanted the holy names of Lord Hari and became the exclusive ocean of mercy spreading love of God to the residents of Bengal. Just worship that Lord Caitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Lord Caitanya enchants the minds of those in the renounced order of life, and he is the master of Navadvip, his own abode, which is surrounded by the river Ganges. He stays there with his consort Srimati Vishnupriya Devi and receives the worship and prayers of the demigods and devotees. Just worship that Lord Caitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Out of compassion for the sufferings of the fallen conditioned souls, the Supreme Lord has assumed the beautiful form of Sri Caitanya. Chasing away the dog of Kali Yuga with a stick, Lord Caitanya continually administers the supreme medicine of the chanting of Lord Hari's holy names. Just worship that Supreme Person, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Lord Sri Krishna's lotus face always displays mercy for all living entities, regardless of whether they consider themselves the friends of the Lord or his enemies. For this reason, the merciful son of Braja's king has now appeared as the golden-complexioned Lord Caitanya. Just worship that Lord Caitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Lord Caitanya is glorified by all the Upanishads, and the splendor of his complexion has eclipsed the glory of gold. He has appeared as the son of Jagannath Mishra, the best of Brahmins, and he performs pastimes with his associates in his abode of Navadvip. Just worship that Lord Caitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. All the incarnations of the personality of Godhead are simultaneously present in the form of Lord Caitanya, the best of incarnations. Lord Caitanya is the absolute truth, and he is intent on performing his own transcendental pastimes. He continuously tastes the ocean of nectar that is the confidential mellows of pure love of God exchanged by the residents of Brajabhumi. Just worship that Lord Caitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. If one does not have intense devotional service, then scholarship, noble birth, wealth, or any other material assets will not help one attain the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. O friend, for this reason please become free from all material motives, and with great devotion worship Lord Chaitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Lord Chaitanya is the same personality of Godhead who formerly delivered the elephant Gajendra from the crocodile's attack in the middle of the lake, and who also delivered Gajapati Maharaj Prataparudra from the ferocious crocodile of material existence. Just worship that Lord Chaitanya, who is full of inconceivable potencies, who appears like an auspicious desire tree, and who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Satisfied at heart by Surabindra's austerities, Lord Hari appeared as a golden-complexioned Brahman known as Lord Chaitanya and refuted the conclusions of the impersonalists. Just worship that Lord Chaitanya, who is full of eternal transcendental bliss and who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. O friend, please reject all varieties of material desires and also reject the impersonalist's conception of the living entity's oneness with the Supreme Godhead. Give up all so-called auspicious and inauspicious material activities and just engage in the pure and favorable loving service of Lord Chaitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. O friend, be humble, meek, full of compassion for the fallen souls, and respectful to all. Just worship the devotees of Lord Hari and always drink the nectar of Lord Hari's holy names. In this way worship Lord Chaitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. O friend, just call out the names of the personality of Godhead, saying, O Yadava, O Madhava, O Krishna, O Hari, O Rama, O Janardhan, O Keshava, O dear master of the daughter of King Vrishabhanu. Continually worship Lord Chaitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Please call out, O Krishna, O Master of Govardhan Hill, Vrindavan and the banks of the Yamuna, O Lord who appears like a brilliant sun shining in the forest of Gokula, O Lord who relishes the transcendental pastime of the Rasa dance, O Lord Chaitanya, O fair complexioned Lord Hari. In this way just worship Lord Chaitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Go to Lord Chaitanya's forest, known as the 9 islands of Navadvip. Read about Lord Chaitanya's pastimes with great delight, and roll about on the shore of the Ganges, which is marked with Lord Chaitanya's lotus footprints. In this way worship Lord Chaitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest. Remember the transcendental pastimes of Gaur Gadadhar. Become a devotee of Gaur Gadadhar, and hear the pleasing instructions of Gaur Gadadhar. Worship Lord Chaitanya, who is like a moon shining in the groves of Godruma forest.